community discussion. Anybody in the audience want to join in, then be more than happy to. We're gonna let anybody up. So yeah.
And I press live on my live stream. So there we go.
And thank you everybody for who's joining us. If you're going to be joining us in the future, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and if you're listening on my channel, please subscribe to the Walkie Talkie podcast as soon as possible. Get my mans to 1,000 subs so they can finally get their monetization and start making some money off of this YouTube thing. Even though I know comedy already is,
and do the vice versa as well.
We need Udi to get a new bag too, so or a headboard.
Just a chair.
A chair. That's a headboard, bro. Don't try to. So I don't know. Did we talk chapter 19 or no?
I mean, we did, and you did, but.
Did we talk about it?
I mean, there's a decent chance that probably, but I don't remember.
Definitely not 20 yet, but maybe for 19. Either way, what did you have to say about chapter 19, Free Game?
Chapter 19?
Yes.
I think chapter 19, besides like Sarada, Kurama, and Gekio, I think chapter 19.
That's chapter 20.
Chapter 20. I think that chapter 19 was a little bit more better because they had stakes. They couldn't figure out how to beat Ryu. You saw them on the verge of death almost. Like not death, but like they didn't know what to do. Like once the last trump card was nullified and you can't use it anymore, it was like, game over. So I really appreciated that about that. And then the dialogue between other characters as well. As far as like Matsuri and Konohamaru's little relationship and the dynamic that they're trying to build between them. I thoroughly enjoyed it from a second viewpoint because like when I read chapters, I low-key skim through it. So with this chapter, I read it once and then I read it again just to get to see if I missed anything or if it was like certain nuances that slipped my mind or just like went over my head as I was reading it. So yeah, I definitely give it a higher rating than I did on the podcast. I do think it was a very decent chapter besides like my hate for Yodo. Everybody knows that. But other than that, it was...
I don't think you're alone.
Well, I'm glad I'm not because, bro. But I had grown slight respect for her, if you want to say that. Just because the way she went out. She helped Sarada to realize that, she has something deeper into her. And she doesn't know why she's holding it back. And it low-key triggered something in Sarada. I don't know if that was that, if it was those, I don't know if it was those words in specific, but it probably was a small factor in Sarada releasing him on Gekyo Sharingan. Because, I think it was just at the point where she didn't see no choice but to use it.
Well, of course, she's gonna use it to support Boruto in the fight where he isn't even here.
Could you entertain the fact that maybe Sarada didn't know she had a Mangekyo?
So, yes and no. I could imagine her not no, because Yodo and Sarada's conversation makes it clear that she knew, in my opinion. And also the fact that Sasuke Jin Raiden describes the usage of the Mangekyo being similar to a fish just instinctively knowing how to swim upstream. So I do think she did know, and also knows how to use her ability, obviously, and will just naturally just know the name of the ability. But who knows? Omnipotence shenanigans afoot. Maybe she's just so focused. Like she's literally distracted during this mission because of her thing with Sumire. So maybe she's just been so distracted over the past 3 years, she just hasn't even realized she has the Mangekyo. I guess it's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I asked that is because like Sasuke was the only one who noticed that she had the Mangekyo. I mean, it's been a 3-year time skip. I don't know if she's been training with it or like unlocked it since a 3-year time skip, which would be like highly unlikely. But if that's not the case, then I don't think that she knew she possessed a Mangekyo Sharingan. The only reason why I say that is because when Sasuke looked in his eyes, he didn't say anything. He just saw that she had the Mangekyo. And he was surprised and he took her word for it.
So obviously we need to like see how she acts in the next chapter to confirm, but a couple things to note that is at least when it comes to every single Naruto character who awakened a Mangekyo Sharingan, aside from Kakashi, they just knew, like Itachi awakened it and he just proceeded to immediately start using it. Sasuke awakened it. He wasn't like surprised he had it. Like he went to the B fight knowing he's got a Mangekyo. He's going to pull it out of his ass and do whatever he can with it, and so on and so on. Madara, same thing. So Obito, same thing. So the only one who didn't initially know is the non-Uchiha Kakashi, which could play into it. Maybe, maybe not. But just based off of consistency, she probably should have realized. And then the weird part is just the conversation, because looking at their conversation, it both feels like Sarada does and doesn't know, which makes it kind of tricky, because it seems like it's what Yodo's saying is resonating with Sarada, which is a kind of weird if she just doesn't know at all, like that she is restraining herself. But you could argue it's just a subconscious thing. She's just subconsciously realizing at this moment that Yodo's right. But no,
you just gotta let
feels
go,
like she
Sarada.
knew. But we'll have to just see. Like if she's acting, I mean, even then she doesn't seem surprised when she puts the sand away, even in this moment. But if next chapter she's acting all surprised, like, oh, I never knew, and okay, it's fine, she didn't know. But if I had to pick based off everything that we have seen, she should and probably did know. She just wasn't releasing it for whatever reason.
What reason do you think that would be?
Well, the bullshit reason Yodo gave.
What refresh my memory.
Well, you know what? While we're at it, let's really let me share my screen. Let's really refresh your memory and examine exactly what Yodo says in this Viz version that doesn't actually make sense.
Hold on. Let me pull up my screen. Hold on. You move too fast.
Well, Kamui hasn't pulled up on his screen, if you just want to look there.
Yeah, you can just watch my screen on Discord.
Yeah, I know, but for my audience. Hold on.
Yeah. Let me know when you're good.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't lower quality this way, but either way. Well, Kamui, at least I'm watching. By the way, Kamui, the middle-ish, bottom right-ish somewhat panel, the close, yeah, her eye there, I'm not going to say it's like dirty, it has smudges, but it has a lot of lines around the iris. What do you make of that? Because we don't usually get that ever. Yeah. Do you think that's just Ikimoto in comparison to Kishimoto? Because yeah, we don't get that ever.
Oh yeah, you did it here, for example.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, you got a good point. Okay,
I think he just sometimes does eye detail, sometimes doesn't. It just depends on the shot.
That's fair.
I'm pretty sure he's done this sort of thing before, though.
Yeah.
That's it, Free Gamer. Are you good?
Yeah, hold on.
Well, yes and hold on are two very contradictory ideas.
So what?
Nothing. So I guess before really getting into it, can I just point out the fact that Aria has had absolutely zero reaction to his loved one dying in front of him?
I guess he's being choked out,
Ooh,
but
he's
Mitsuki was able to yell and
paralyzed.
talk, so
Exactly. I don't want to hear it. I don't care if he's being choked out. Come on, bro.
this is his reaction.
Uh-huh. Damn it, you bastard.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, there's that.
But like, come on. Like, if he not saw Naruto die, she's not just gonna, oh, dang it.
And to make things worse, we know these aren't tears. These are Ikimaru's sweat beads.
Like, I know that Obito had the Mangekyou, but that's not why he raged. We should be seeing something similar to that. Like, we should be getting a Naruto explained thumbnail made canonized of Aria screaming.
What we should see, and this isn't anything super crazy, I'm not expecting Aria to do what Boruto does here. Next chapter. But at the very least, it's probably here. Like this. Master, damn it, don't. I said stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Like, reacting like that.
Yeah. Where's that? Exactly.
Well,
nothing.
Why do that when you have this? That said, free game. Are you good?
You know, okay, can we go back to Aria's reaction? It reminds me of when Hashirama told Madara, no, you wait over there, or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's just rejected or something, like, bro.
Fucking finally. I finally got it. Hold on.
You know what? Even in the right page at the bottom, Mitsuki's reaction is more intense than Aria's. And Mitsuki's like the MVP of this mission. Like the one to keep calm.
Bro, he's the least likely to care about Yodo.
Oh my God.
Alright, so what y'all talking about?
Okay. So, okay, this whole thing's kind of weird, but specifically, page 36. I don't know why or what you're holding back for. Okay, and this is the important part. But it's okay to use it for things other than just the greater good. What is that saying? That's saying, Sarada, you've been saving your power for just the greater good. However, you're allowed to use it selfishly. That's what she's saying so far. And now she's saying...
Who did?
Yodo is what she's saying. Like, she's implying you've been saving this power for just the greater good, but you're allowed to use it for something else. Probably something selfish. Okay. But then she goes on to say, you're allowed to use it for, and only for, that special person in your life, which would be Boruto. So she's saying, first, you're allowed it's okay to use it for things other than just the greater good. That's saying you're allowed to use it for the greater good and other things.
For both.
She then goes on to say, you can only use it for one thing, Boruto. So that's already a contradiction. And second, you're allowed to use it for and only for Boruto. And what does Sarada do? Well, she's not using it for Boruto. She didn't use it when Boruto was there as an Inari. No, she's using it when Boruto's not there. So how is she using it for Boruto?
Why is this working to goat her into using it? If anything, this should goat her into not using it.
Exactly. She's like thinking, well, okay, he's not here. Sorry, Yodo, you're dying. So,
wait, Yodo.
Did we ever check the RAWs on this, Sudi? Did we ever check the RAWs? I don't think we could access them, was what it was.
Yeah, I don't think so. That being said,
9?
I think,
hold up. Yodo's 9.
What's that?
You said she's 9?
Wait, what? No.
What?
Nobody said
You
that.
said Yodo's 9? That's what I'm asking.
No, we did not
What
say
did you
that.
say? What did you say?
I don't know what you heard.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe
we asked
Yodo's
if we've
dying.
seen the rod.
So at some point, maybe heard those.
Maybe we
that.
said Yodo's not something.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, that's what I probably heard. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Probably Yodo's not good. Well, I need to stop because apparently I'm the problem and not Kamui, if you ask Twitter, considering apparently, even though that I rated this chapter even higher than Kamui, and both me and Kamui thought this was like the third best chapter in all of Tubular Vortex, apparently I'm the problem.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna like this, but I just might like how I present things compared to you. I don't know.
Why do you rank this the best?
Konohamaru, Matsuri, Jura stuff. Well,
That's the only reason.
Konohamaru and Matsuri stuff. I'm not 50-50 on the Jura part because half of what. No, I was gonna Konohamaru and Matsuri stuff. Yeah, the Jura part was actually just kind of bad. Bad for reasons that you have to be very specific about, but like it's overall the right idea. It's just specific things that Jura said that kind of just makes it bad.
Like, for instance, for your point of view.
Oh, you want me to? Okay, okay. Let's get it. Jura makes no sense. Okay. We're in the chapters. Jura talk. Okay.
Well, that was the beginning. So
That's just him crying. Where's he? Okay. It just looks so weird, but it's all big like this. Okay, so now I need to pull up the comparison chapters. Chapter 4. Okay. Well, just give me a couple of things here. So the first thing to note is, let's skip to it. Why does it? I'm so confused. Why is it? Where is the part? When does he talk about Enojin? Is this the wrong chapter?
It's chapter 19.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Who talks about?
Okay, so we need chapter 19 too. Okay. That's what's throwing me off. I thought it was all this chapter. So actually, okay, never mind. The Jura part of chapter 20 is perfectly fine.
Okay, I was curious what you were referencing there.
Yeah, so, well, I was getting the chapters mixed together.
Okay.
So let's backtrack. So, first of all, Enojin lost his life. Did you know that, free game? Did you know that Enojin died?
He did?
Needlessly.
Well, yeah, I mean, are you reading this? The same thing I am? Enojin lost his composure and ended up needlessly losing his life. Did you know that?
What? No.
Oh, what? wait, hold on, free game. Are you saying no because of... Well, I might know why you're saying that. It's probably because of this scene. Like when Himawari healed his chest, and then everyone was just perfectly not worried about Enojin really anymore. Is that... And Jura is right there, too. Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird, because Jura's right here, too. Just like us, and... Well, as he clearly states, Enojin lost his life.
Needless.
Hold on, let me look at that. Hold on. I gotta make it bigger because I'm looking at it on my Streamlabs. I can't really see. Hold on, make it bigger.
It must be because love is a disease.
Is this okay? Okay, so damn, I can't
Chapter
see
19, page 30.
Send me the page. Send me the page.
You know what? I have a better idea.
Just take a screenshot.
I'm just going to take a screenshot of the panel and post it in Discord chat.
Please.
Let's just do this.
Oh, goodness.
Because I can't.
Putting in your regular chat. Just the regular one.
So, Friggin, what do you think about that?
What, he lost his life?
Yeah, the fact that
Yeah,
Enogene's
what do you think
dead.
about Enogene's death?
I gotta see what you sent me. Hold
His needless death at that.
on. You probably sent it. What do you send it to? I don't see it.
The Cloud Ninja podcast
Regular
chat.
overview chat. Here, we'll put in this chat too. This one too. Here. all
With
the
all of
chats.
Oh, hold on.
Alright.
But
I'll get rid of that for now.
Also, real quick, do you have an upcoming event, Boruto Chapter 20 prediction scheduled for tomorrow? Well, I hate to break it to you, Freegan, but Chapter 20's been out for like 2 weeks. You might want to try the Chapter 21.
I'm not going to stop him from doing predictions, Kamui. Come on.
Wait, I didn't put chapter 21?
No, you put Chapter 20. So you'll have to make sure you predict Chapter 20's event. So you have to ignore what actually happens and predict what will happen.
Let the man go at his own pace.
No, mine says TBV chapter 19 to 20 community discussion. Did Sarada know she had a Mangekyo prior to chapter 20?
Allow me to take a screenshot of this, too.
What screenshot?
Right, check the podcast stage chat thing.
Oh, you talking about the stage chat? I don't care about that.
Oh my God.
Oh, I was just letting you know.
Yeah, I don't care.
But
about
anyway,
that.
about
That's not gonna get
Enogene's
put on
death.
YouTube. All right, yeah, go ahead. I see what you posted. So is it like solidified that he died? Because they
No,
didn't say
it's
anything.
just wrong.
Free game. He didn't
Oh,
die.
it's like-
we got quite
is it like
quite
a-
the opposite with solidified, actually. Allow me to show you. Just you remember Sakura's amazing, long-awaited return to the Boruto series? Yes, Sakura's return. The big one, the one where Sakura was really impactful. And, he's gonna be just fine.
And reacting to Hidari and Sarada and Sasuke and all that.
Yeah. So, Sakura just made it clear that Enogene's fine. Now, obviously, Jura, unless Matsuri's trees told her, Jura wouldn't know about this. But that's not the problem. It's just that, he saw Himawari heal Enogene. Everyone react calmly. Then goes on to praise Himawari's healing ability. Or if this thing will load.
Oh, maybe not. Now, something I'll point out,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but if we go back to Sakura's dialogue, I think she implies that Enogene would have died if left on his own and if she didn't do anything.
No, she just says,
She
looks
doesn't
like
say
his
that?
chakra flow is disrupted, but no worries. I don't
Okay.
know, I mean...
Okay. Because one of the comments in the comment section, I think from Jonathan Oliver and Mamba or someone, was saying that, but I was just giving them the benefit of the doubt. But even then, Juro's saying it as if it's definitively true instead of he just doesn't know.
Yeah, but I don't know why this chapter just won't load for me anymore, but I'll try it again. But anyway, the point is, he goes on to see Himawari's healing abilities be absolutely, off screen, absolutely insane, and he specifically praises her. What astounding healing power! Far beyond human or Jinchuriki level, something almost like what Weebiju possess. Now, Weebiju meaning the Shinju. You know what the Shinju can do? Not even Jura level Shinju, just the regular Shinju. Oh, they can do exactly this. You can blow Hidari up. Whatever chapter this up. I don't know. You could turn him into a Thorn Soul because you blow him up. Then proceed to put them all the way back together. I don't care if he needs help. That's how these Shinju heal. Not even Jura. He's praising Himawari for having healing on that level. And where'd the chapter go? Well, anyway, he saw her heal. Oh, yeah. It's like, why is this default assumption that she's definitively dead? He could have said almost losing his life. He could have said, he could have had perilous injury. That leaves the open-ended. Maybe he's dead, maybe he's not. It was near-death injuries Who knows what happened? I think this is a mistranslation, personally, if I had to guess. If not, again, just from Jura's perspective, his assumption should be that Enojin lived, not that he died. Like, more things are pointing in that direction. But that's not really the important part, even if that is stupid. The main thing that is bad is really this page. So he thinks life forms, that's fine. That's just his motive. He thinks life forms should obey their instincts to strive towards evolution. That's his goal. That's his mindset. That's fine. He then goes on to say, yet because of their social nature, humans bind themselves with restraints called reasoning, dulling that instinct. It's a harmful side effect of acquiring intelligence, and it's why humankind carries a fatal flaw. Unlike us divine trees who stay true to our instincts. So, unlike us divine trees who stay true to our instincts. Now, free game. Do you have any guesses on what one of the first things Jura says in his introduction is? Any guesses at all? But do you have any? Okay, so Jura says, so humans do this. Unlike us divine trees who stay true to our instincts. He's saying humans' instincts are dulled because of reasoning. Unlike us divine trees who stay true to our instincts. Now I'll ask you, what do you think one of the first things Jura says is when he's first introduced?
Wait, what?
Any guesses?
What do you think what do I think the first thing he'll say when he's what?
No. So Jura says this now, in this chapter, chapter 19. Unlike us divine trees who stay true to our instincts. Now I'm asking you, free game, do you have any guesses as to what Jura said previously in chapter 4 when he was first introduced? Just any guesses? What I'm going to show you.
Don't know. I can't go back that far. You have to show me.
Okay. Well, good thing I'm here. Because Jura says, you were lucky, Boruto. Our self-awareness having just... So,
hold on. I'm sorry to laugh at you. Can you repeat that back over so I can cut clips?
Okay. All right, I'll just start from the top. In chapter 19, Jura says, us divine trees stay true to our instincts. Okay, that's why they're different from humans, is what he's saying. But in chapter 4, our self-awareness having just awakened, overflowing curiosity and thirst for knowledge are still surpassing our instinctual drive to devour. That's why Jura isn't trying to devour Boruto, because that instinct was surpassed by curiosity and thirst for knowledge. What happened to staying true to our instincts? Let's continue though.
My bad. My mic was muted. I think over time, as far as like Jura interacting with normal civilians and like possibly not seeing them as nefarious as they are, and adapting to their culture, not in the sense that he's just chilling around eating ramens and stuff like that, but like he's intrigued by the world around him. It was been implied that like Jura and all the other Shinjus are like infants, so their curiosity is pretty much like if you want to put it in an infant's point of view, like an infant or like a toddler, they are brand new to the world, and everything that they see is like seeing it for the first time. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put it in that aspect as far as being infants and stuff like that. So like they don't have any concept of the world besides what they've been taught. They don't have any real life experiences or anything like that. Like, I mean, I know we're talking about a whole new creature, and I don't know what his like IQ is, but Jura seems like a smart kind of guy. Depending on the type of literature he reads, it could sway him to take another path as far as like what he thought his primordial instincts was. So Yeah, that's basically the one I want to say.
So, free game.
Well,
Let me ask you this. What is Jura's current goal?
That's a tough question because
it's right on this page, actually, if you want to just read this panel.
it's small as fuck. I need glasses. What the fuck?
All right, here, we'll take another screenshot.
Hold on, I got you. I can see it.
Okay.
Ideally, in my own opinion, life forms should obey their instincts to strive towards the goal known as evolution.
Okay, that's the end. That's all you need.
Ideally,
so that's his goal. Hold on. Strive towards evolution.
Let me read this again, so I can fully digest it. Ideally, in my opinion, life form should be. Ideally, in my opinion, life forms should obey their instincts to strive towards the goal known as evolution. I mean, I get that because that's his primordial instincts. It's devour. It's like if you want to bring it back to like an animal instincts is to survive, is to catch their prey, eat them. You know what I'm saying, like that. So and the contents they're in the same way, but the difference between them and just raging animals is they have a conscience and they have some form of intelligence. So you can say intelligence corrupts, but I think Jura is going to have some type of change of heart. I don't really want that, but I think Jura is going to not be the person that we think he is.
Well, Jura definitely isn't a person, and also animals have consciousness and a form of intelligence. So Jura, he's not a new life form. I'll also emphasize this: he has his memories or whatever from being the Nintendo.
I'm not saying they don't have intelligence. Like they have their own form of intelligence. Like they say, dolphins is probably smarter than humans. So yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying animals are retarded or anything like that, but I'm just saying they think differently than us.
No, that's fine. But Jura isn't just like a newborn baby. He has memories from when he was the Nine-Tails. He didn't just spawn out of nothingness. He transformed. He's essentially an evolved Nine-Tails. That same Nine-Tails from Jigen's dimension that Sasuke saw. That's the same thing. It just changed shapes and gained sentience or whatever. But it lacked self-awareness before. That doesn't mean it was like asleep the whole time. It was still awake and conscious and doing things. So it still understood and had awareness of the world around it. Just not self-awareness.
Do you have the definition of sentience?
No. I don't have it on me. But let's look it up. Capacity to experience feelings and sensations. Okay, well, the Nine-Tails could experience sensations.
Accompanying awareness and emotional reactions. Let's try this one.
I would definitely say the Nine-Tails fit that definition.
Feeling or sensation as distinguished from perception and thought. Okay.
Yeah. See, the Nine-Tails had perception. I don't think
feelings and thought. Okay. Yeah, the Nine-Tails definitely had feelings and sensations because it looked angry.
Exactly.
When it saw Jigen, so
like the fact that it's able to react to Sasuke's presence tells me it feels things. It has sensations.
So what's self-awareness definition? Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feeling, motives, and desires. Okay, that's stuff. Okay, so let's just remove sentience and use self-awareness because that is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. So that is the thing that it gained that it didn't have before. But that doesn't mean it's just like a new existence that just spawned out of nothingness like 2 days ago.
I mean, even if it was, coming back to the original point, a lot of what Free Game said actually just amplifies kind of the issue with this. So some things Jura says and does works as a, what you can call a character contradiction in a good way. Some of this, though, just doesn't really make sense. So the first thing is, okay, so Jura's saying at first, okay, our curiosity, it's still surpassing our instinctual drive to devour you, implying that, okay, maybe this will fade away over time. Like, they're curious at first, as they get older, this will stop. But since then, all he's proven is that to be true, as he's continuously not devoured anyone. He stopped himself from devouring Boruto and other people, so he's only shown restraint. But he's saying here that they stay true to our instincts. So this, just in and of itself, it's like, okay, maybe he's just blind to that. That is starting to take away from some of his rationale as a logical character, but that could be fine. But then you have other... But there's a lot of other things, though. Like, so first of all, because of their social nature, that's why humans find themselves with restraints called reasoning that dull that instinct. Well, let me ask you guys, is Jura being social in this scene?
What do you mean?
Well, is he talking to anyone?
It was seen. Hold on.
The scene on my screen.
The answer is yes.
You said is he what?
Well, is Jura talking to anyone right now?
Ideally, in my opinion, life form should. I can't read it. Read it, bro. My eyes.
You don't need to read it. You just need to. Yeah, the answer is yes. He's clearly talking to Hidari and Mabushi here. He's being social. All this man has done is just talk to everyone he meets. Okay, he's very social. Like, now again, maybe he's just blind to his hypocrisy, but like, if he knows what being social is, he knows what that is. He should know that he's currently doing it. And he's saying, because of social nature, you get reasoning restraints. He should be able to put two and two together that, like, obviously they would be susceptible to this. But that's not the only thing. He thinks that they're so what we're getting, Jura thinks that the Shinju are immune to this reasoning instinct because he thinks they're not social and that they stay true to their instincts. However, he believes that the other side of intelligence, love, is capable of causing the Divine Tree serious problems. The next chapter shows this with Matsuri and Konohamaru. Matsuri is clearly affected and susceptible to love and how that can affect her instincts. The story proves that love can affect them. If love can affect them, why does he think they're immune to the social nature human reasoning? That doesn't make sense. If he's going to be a hypocrite, he would either think they're immune to both, even though they clearly aren't, or, like the love situation, he would just be weary of both. It doesn't make sense for him to think that they're just incapable of suffering from the reasoning problem when they are social,
which,
were
by the
stated
way,
to be surpassing their instincts previously, and are worried about love, which clearly get affected. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. That's just illogical.
Like, isn't Jonathan Oliver's whole thing that he's hyping up about the Shinju, that they want to gain intelligence? Wouldn't that just go along with the reasoning? Like, Jura is literally saying here that he's an irrational villain. Literally what he's doing.
Some things, like, for example, now, some aspects are fine. Like, for example, something I'm going to say is making Jura a hypocrite. This isn't inherently a problem, what I'm about to say. But why hasn't Jura devoured Boruto or Himawari or Kawaki on countless occasions? Reasoning. His own reasoning. I freaking have a 10-minute script on this probably on my phone that I'm working on this video, but Jura specifically come up with reasons to disobey his instincts to devour Boruto. The current one, Boruto's too dangerous to be left alive. But in plenty of situations, though, he's just not doing it. Every time Jura isn't devouring Boruto or Kawaki, he is going against his instinct to devour Natsuki. The thing that Mamushi was calling Jura out about in chapter 5, be like, why do you want to do that? That's not an Otsutsuki. That's weird. That's the instinct. So Jura's disobeying the instinct because of reasoning. Logical reasoning. Okay. He's doing it. Like, he's being susceptible to this problem. That hypocritical action versus talking thing is fine until you start putting this into the equation where he's logically deducing, before it even happens, that love could be a problem based off of humans. The human Eno gene. Why is he saying this? Because Eno gene did it. He saw humans surpass their instincts because of love. It caused them to, according to Jura, needlessly lose his life, but the point is to put their lives in danger. And he's basically saying that love could affect them as well. So why doesn't he think this goes back to himself? Like, it just goes back and forth. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So the point is, he should either be worried about both reasoning and love, or neither reasoning and love. Not one or the other. That just doesn't make sense.
Now, going off what Free Game was saying, though, yes, the Shinju are growing at a rapid rate, and I'm fine with Jura having development in general. He can even change his mind based on new information that he gathers. This isn't that. It's just saying two completely opposite things for no reason and believing both of them at the same time in a weird retcon-y kind of way.
Exactly, because all he's proven was that the Shinju can surpass their instincts. Like, that's all he's witnessed. He's only witnessed all of the Shinju surpass their instincts leading into this. So why would he have this statement? Like, if you just remove this panel, it's all fine.
Now, I will mention one thing, Kamui, just to try and salvage this. I already know that you've already debunked this anyways, but just to throw it out there. Jura's end goal has always been the same from the beginning. He's going to evolve like a divine tree. The targets isn't changing that goal, it's putting something else to do in front of it before accomplishing that goal. But even then, the end goal is still the same, it's just he's going to do the target thing first. This is similar to what Naruto does. Naruto's goal is become Hokage, but time after time, he does things that aren't necessarily directly impacting his becoming Hokage-ness, such as chasing after Sasuke or whatever.
But as you said, we've already talked about this, but all those things that Naruto is doing, they're pillars to support him on that path. So Naruto's envisionment of a Hokage requires him to be capable of saving a friend.
Exactly.
He can't become Hokage if he can't save a friend. That's Naruto's envisionment of what Hokage means to him. So Naruto needs to hit these stepping stones to reach that goal. Jura devouring a target very easily and understandably could and probably would support his evolutionary goal. It probably bolsters his evolution. But that's not the thing that we're discussing.
Yeah.
It might be perfectly in tandem with the goal known as evolution, but it doesn't involve obeying their instincts to strive there, because he's specifically avoiding the instinct of our Boruto to do this.
So the way you're looking at it, the bottom right panel is the problem. In my opinion, the bottom right panel can exist. The problem would be the middle panel. Well, I was thinking of the reasoning panel.
I put both of these together. These are both the problem.
Okay. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying there. But, like, as long as he doesn't change his goal, as long as he doesn't give up on wanting evolution as his final thing, that should still be fine. The reasoning thing's really a thing that bogs down everything because of the
okay, so let me put it this way. This is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
This is just a weird, makes no sense retcon.
Okay.
But that's all there is. It's just it's just like, why did you say that? Like, you didn't think it here. And this becomes like really weird. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, you're social, you're saying that humans do this, but you don't. The reason you're doing everything is reasoning.
I mean, I just wanted to get that out there, since I'm sure that's what Silva and Mamba and Jonathan Oliver would have loved to throw at me here, so... At least I'm addressing it before they even have the chance to point it out.
Yeah.
What do you guys think that Amado's like plan is? Do you think that he's just trying to bring back his daughter, or do you think he has like ulterior motives?
So the thing
obviously,
is, go
we
ahead, Tom.
can't say for certain. If I had to pick
course
right
not.
now, based off the current evidence, he is trying to bring his daughter back. He's just not trying to do it the way he's saying.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, some of the acts, like for example, he might want Kawaki to put a karma on the Akabi clone, but he's not giving you the full picture of his plan. Like, there's way more to the plan that he hasn't explained, whether it involves some things that people would frown upon or not, but he hasn't laid out the whole plan, I don't think.
Yeah, he is half truths.
Because he could use any other method to revive her at any time, so it's clearly not that. I think what he wants, just going with the most basic bare bones.
Well, he did say,
possibility.
like, if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, he said he did try other ways, but that's when Delta came about, and he was nothing like her daughter.
Okay, what Uni's really getting at is, like, Bro did not try to clone Granny Chio and revive his daughter. Like, we all know he didn't do that. That's what he's getting at. But, like, personally, even though that's stupid, and the story will probably never address it, I'm going to look past it. My thing is, the plan he gave doesn't make sense, and Amado should know it doesn't make sense based on other things Amado has explained. And I don't think it's as simple as what he's saying. Not to mention that there's also the whole clear setup that Akabi will probably be an Otsuki in some manner, whether it's just like Boruto and just she's Otsuki-fied or she just is evil. But they are setting up the fact that she will be Otsuki and Kawaki will not like it.
Which, let's be honest,
Yeah,
I think
maybe
Amado
I
knows that to
on
be
that.
true. I don't believe him when he says he doesn't know. Hypothetically, let's just believe him he doesn't know. I think he's banking on it. I think he wants her to be. He's hoping she will be Otsutsuki. At the very least, because he doesn't want to lose her ever again. He wants to make sure once she comes back, she's not going to be human, because then she could just die of the same disease. Or anything else in the world.
Like, she could, in theory, be the nice, sweet Akabi girl that she was. Like, her personality, he might plan on her personality being perfectly innocent. But she's not going to be just an ordinary girl. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be like Hidan. He's going to want her to be unkillable, basically.
Yeah. This is clear as evident as possible, considering the fact of what he's saying to Kawaki, that he'll fight like a man, like a dad or whatever, against Kawaki. I guess his bare fist is going to punch him to death if Kawaki tries to attack her or something.
Now, I will also add that, at face value, just being Otsuki-fied, I don't care what the Boruto manga is going to put at you. It doesn't mean shit other than being with the Master Chakra signature and fly. That's not going to make her immortal. He's doing other things too. He's going to give her freaking the nonsense Kawaki near immortal defenses of regeneration. He's going to throw in whatever else. He's going to, like,
karma,
do things that Kawaki's going to see as threatening, especially when he finds out that she's Otsutsuki-fied. But, like, at face value, aren't inherently threatening.
She's obviously going to have Jibai cells and a Shinjutsu.
Yeah, probably.
So you can't imagine she just doesn't. But
and we don't even know what Akabi's really like as a person, especially if she was given power.
True, as far as we know, she makes Delta look nice. I doubt it, though.
Well, and also, hypothetically, with some people, let's say Light Yagami, Light was, I mean, obviously he had some underlying things about him, but for the most part, when Light doesn't have the power to kill the whole world by knowing a name and face, he is acting as a normal citizen. He's not going around killing people. He's being a good person, you know, more or less. Akabi could be similar, but the moment you give her the power to kill others, feeling she has, thoughts on the world she has, let's just say she has a little bit of a distaste towards the ninja system, hypothetically. Well, as a random civilian, she couldn't do shit about it. She didn't care, but now she can. Will she now want to do something about it? Will her goals change because she now has the power to change things? That's a very reasonable thing that can happen to literally anyone. they can say power corrupts people.
The same with
That
indulgence.
can apply to this girl too, even if she is a sweetheart.
Especially,
it's possible.
Especially, Kamui, especially after she's already been killed once from this world that cruelly and carelessly tossed her aside to die like she was nothing. She's gonna want to change the world now. It's gonna be
Especially
like
depending on the context of the context of why. Like, so I'm not saying this is the case, and also Udi, let's just go to your podcast topic about this, where you said Boro's virus should have been the disease that killed Akabi as an idea. No, there's problems with this. I'll just stress them. Amado's the one who gave Boro the virus.
I already know, which is why I wrote that caveat there. But let's be honest, Kamui. Ikimoto forgot. He's not gonna remember that.
I wouldn't be surprised, but hypothetically, though, if Boro just did have the virus separate from Amado, that just was like if regenerations from Amado and the virus was something Boro came up with, let's say, and as part of Jigen's plan, hypothetically, that actually could work, because then it's like this cruel, corrupt system went out of their way to kill me, to manipulate my dad, to doing all these crazy things. That would piss her off when she is revived and finds it out. Like, that could, in theory, actually work.
Yeah, I mean, Obito's whole thing was that he hated the ninja system that led to the outcomes that happened. Akabi, it'd be essentially the same thing, the Otsutsuki system, or whatever you want to say. I still think it's fine if it's none of that, and she just hates, essentially, Madara's ideal of just, he hates the world as a system, and the natural system is how she would word it. The natural system. She hates that. She was a victim of the natural system.
Ikimoto is seemingly not going the route of writing these types of characters, as he said himself in his interview. So chances of this happening, pretty slim. Kawaki's really the only one so far that's kind of fitting the old Naruto-like character arc. Most of these other ones are distinctly unique.
That being said, I could totally, so easily see Ikimoto write it this way. Jigen just used Boro to virusify Akabi so he can tell Amado that Jigen can revive her in the same way that Madara killed Rin to an extent.
That was the comparison I was going to make, but I'm not expecting it, because obviously that's just a blatant retcon, so I'm not going to expect it. But if they rewrote it to begin with, I mean, to some extent, they could just... Actually, you know what? I have a solution. Because nothing necessarily states that Amado is the first member of Kara with Jigen. Because of that, it's possible for Boro to have already been a member. It's possible. It's not a retcon in that case. We do know, according to Sasuke, with his bug investigative research, that Boro's cult was doing scientific research and development behind Jigen's back. Hypothetically, Boro's virus could have come from Boro's own research. It's not Amado / Jigen. And if that's the case, you actually could do that. Just have Boro already be a member. Amado needs Jigen. Says, hey, Boro, you got this cool-ass virus you came up with. Go do this for me. They actually could do it without a retcon. Because nothing directly states that Amado... you could say Kawaki did because Amado remodeled everyone, blah, 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 but because of Sasuke's line, you could just simply say the virus is the thing Boro developed on his own, and it could work.
I mean, I would be down, but I am down for both. I mean, we've already technically got this.
I'm more down for mine because it addresses dialogue that never went anywhere and prevents retcons, but I actually would be down. I don't expect it, but I would be down.
Yeah. I mean, we've got both storylines already. One through the anime of seeing Boro virusify that one village, but that village isn't people that we know or care about. And then the second being in the war arc, technically in the novels, we just see children dying from sickness just naturally, generally anyways. Not a manipulation angle or anything. So we got both angles of manipulation and the world being cruel. So either way, it would be a repeat, but it's, I guess, preference at that point.
Yeah.
The way it currently is the natural angle, but I would be completely fine if they retconned it to the manipulation angle. Either way, we technically get both at that point, since right now it's the natural angle, and they would have to change it in the future, or I guess recontextualize it to be the manipulation angle.
Reveal that it's all it was always.
Exactly. But either way, it'd be both at that point, technically, even if it's just one.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I'm not expecting that. I'm more so expecting that it's just it was a disease, and that's that. I just don't know what they're going to do as far as Akabi's feelings on it, because I don't know what character they want. Like, I don't know if Akabi's gonna be a villain or if Kawaki's just gonna be afraid that she's a villain. That's the issue there.
Okay. Free game, what do you think? All right.
He's a deep thought.
I guess so. Oh, is he even in the stage? Oh, he is. Okay. I was about to say. Well.
Is he talking on his stream?
I don't know. But everyone's been invited if anyone wants to join.
Oh, my bad. I had my mic off. It was people saying they wanted to jump on, but
yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
I'll join in.
Put your hands down, and then I'll try it again. Put your hands down, and then raise them again, and I'll put you up.
There you go.
Oh,
look at that. Both them listening. Well, can't wait to talk to you guys. Come on up whenever you're ready. You can do it. Yep, isn't working. Okay, what if I invite you? That works.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, maybe not. Okay, well, I'm sorry. We could, free game if you want, just go to the random normal VC instead of the stage. That should work.
Alright.
Okay, everyone go to VC!
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Oh. I'm currently away from my laptop, so
free game already went. Okay, well, let's see if everyone else joins. But in the meantime, okay, well, Space is able to join, so there we go. Alright, so that does work.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know what was going on, because that always works.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I'll have to look into that later, I guess. But for now, free game, what did you think of the Akabi thing that me and Kamui were talking about?
I blanked out. Like rehash.
Yeah, so basically the idea is, for the story, would you rather it if Akabi just naturally got sick and just coincidentally is one of the few children that just does die? Or would you prefer it that Jigen had Boro do the virus behind Amado's back in order to, like, ask him to join Kara after Akabi had already died?
Wait, had Boro use the poison?
Yeah, like Boro poisoned Akabi in this hypothetical. Would you prefer that?
Okay.
Hold on. Refresh your memory on who Akabi is.
Akabi is Amado's
daughter.
Yeah. Oh, Amado's daughter.
Yeah, right now in the story
to do that though.
Yeah, I mean, just the same way Boro virusify anyone. Right now, it seems as if Akabi just died naturally, but it could be revealed in the future that it could have been Boro or someone else that Jigen had kill her to get Amado to join.
I mean, yeah, it's a plausible explanation, but I don't know. I don't know if Amado would along with Jigen plan to
well, the idea would be that he didn't know.
Oh, he didn't know, and just joined up with Jigen?
It's similar to what Madara did with Obito, the fact that Madara is the one that set up Rin's death, rather than it just happening naturally.
Oh, shit. That would be a plot twist.
Right?
But they should have did that shit. They should have drug off, they should have drug Jigen's, like, car activation arc a little bit further, so we could have got more, unless they flash back in Two Blue Vortex, and we get like an Amado chapter, and he explains more of what happened with him and Jigen. Until then, I can't come to a conclusive decision on that.
Actually, so calmly, I know I wrote this as like a revelation for later on, but just as a quick rewrite, this would, you just throw this into the Ishiki arc, the Kara arc, or whatever. It makes it a little bit more condensed as well if you keep the same pacing. This could have been his whole reason for defecting in the first place, because he found out this maybe is why he made Koji, or made him to work with Amado to kill Jigen in the first place, rather than guilt or whatever other nonsense reason that they actually threw out. As of now, anyways.
Yeah.
That would also help going into the Code arc, because then, well, he's done this, but he still wants to revive Akabi anyways, even though he's got justice or whatever.
Yeah, both. I mean, I think both can work. Obviously, that would obviously just work as like a Amado motivation to betray Ishiki, because as it is, it's like his reasoning's just the whole, the planet, blah blah blah. But Ishiki's like asking, like, why are you guys betraying me? Well, this would be the reason to be like, because you betrayed us first, basically. In a sense.
In which case, I still think this would be even better, because Koji wouldn't know that. Amado's doing it for selfish reasons. Koji just thinks it is the world reason as is, and so much so that he doesn't just think it. He's fighting for the world. He actually actively believes in the world, which can get into Two Blue Vortex, the Koji versus Amado weird fight thing that they have going on anyways.
With that in mind, would you have preferred, I think this argument's for both, but would you prefer that Ishiki either tells Koji, like, Amado's doing this because, I killed his daughter, whatever, or that this is a revelation for Koji to find out in part 2?
I think it would have been fine for part 1 when he's fighting Jigen, because it makes it all the more impactful that Koji continues to fight against Jigen instead of, like, hypothetically turning against Amado or whatever.
Yeah, maybe he's like, that's absurd things about the fact that, like, no, Amado, he would care about the world too.
Well, I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was more so thinking of the fact that they have this weird thing going on of whether or not Koji knows he's going to die. Obviously, Ishiki and Amado think he's going to die based on what Naruto's reaction is, and Ishiki would just obviously think it anyways. Koji is kind of unclear. In this case, he would just fight to the death, even though Amado is basically just discarding him as a tool.
Yeah.
So he's fighting for what's right.
The other hypothetical, though, would be having Amado discover this fact in Two Blue Vortex instead. So, like, it's something that he's going to find out, however he does, but as an alternative.
I think it would especially work since Ishiki already was like, oh, he poofed away. He must be going to go kill Amado. And the fact that we know that didn't happen, that could have been why he didn't go to do it. Maybe he got the reveal there or beforehand or something. It could just lead into that. Whatever happened to have him heal off screen, we could get a flashback to that at some point. That could be the revelation. I mean, we know it's 10 directions.
Obviously, like, that's not an option now, though. Yeah. So, what would you think about the idea of getting the revelation Two Blue Vortex? Like, what way would you like it best, and what way would you like it worst? You have to come up with a how for it, but I don't know off the top of my head how. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how Amado. So that's the problem. Is like, how would Amado figure this out without having already figured it out? And either we'd have to come from Koji via, like, 10 directions knowledge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Koji sees Akabi's revival and gets the information that way.
So either, I guess there's 3 options. Koji, Jura finds out somehow through Shinju whatever things, and then Amado finds out through that. I guess a fourth one. Now. Ada finds out through Senri Gun shenanigans. Or I forgot the other one. Ishiki comes back, and then that's how he finds out, because Ishiki reveals it.
Yeah.
Kind of like Madara.
I mean, at the very least, we know that Koji has 10 directions, and the worst possible future is the Shinju, not Akabi. So at the very least, in the short term, Akabi either doesn't revive or isn't a threat, or Amado isn't going to make a move in the short term, or is necessary to make other moves, such as Kawaki's limiters, to where he's necessary, almost like a pawn for Koji for now. Otherwise, Boruto could just go to Leaf Village and kill him at like literally any time. Because Koji could just demand him to do that, because it's in the future, you need to do it. So the fact he doesn't do that tells us he wants him.
Well, actually, come to think of it, hypothetically, I mean, Boruto may have been opposed, but like, I get the feeling that Kawaki's limiters changing thing is going to lead into Kawaki problems in the future that Koji doesn't want, obviously. But if you backtrack, Koji just earlier on is like, hey, Boruto, he just lies. Amado's the worst possible future. Kill Amado. Like, Kawaki just can't be modified. Exactly. So he can't become a problem in the future. Like, what does that do?
I mean, we know that Kawaki destroys... Well, we don't know if Kawaki destroys Leaf, but we know this Leaf Village is destroyed in the future, so something is bad in the future, regardless of worst possible future. Yeah, I do think for now...
Boruto in that scene. I definitely suspect... And there's also the Chapter 13 scene. It feels like whether Kawaki is the worst possible future or what lies beyond, definitely looks like Koji wants Kawaki dead. Boruto obviously doesn't. But, like, if Kawaki's not dead, but just weaker, could that have solved the problem?
I mean, I think in the long term, kill him, yeah. I think in the short term, Koji might see him as, if not an ally, then like necessary or like a helpful tool to assist Boruto
like maybe
to
he
fight
needs
the
to use him a little bit, then discard him before it's too late, kind of thing.
Exactly. Similar, I guess, to what Amado was doing for Koji in the first place, which could be a nice parallel.
Mm-hmm.
They could play into that.
Okay. I would be down for that.
Okay, cool. Huh. I like that too. So that being said, free game. So you'll BRB for 10 minutes. What do you want to do until it?
Well, okay, let's just go to our topics then.
I guess so.
Do you want to do Boruto or Naruto topics?
Well, I guess we'll just stick with Boruto for now. So, here's something fun. You'll really like this. So I went back and I actually rewatched the Remon arc the past like 2 or 3 days. So, something interesting stood out to me. So, there's a quote in particular. I don't think it was actually in the episode, but it was at least the next episode preview. So, Boruto says, or was this no, this was Konohamaru. So Konohamaru says, relationships? If you have the time to think about stuff like that, you should be training. And then he says, my ninja way is my girlfriend. Konohamaru's ninja way, Kamui, is his girlfriend.
That's who he's dating. That's so... His ninja way is who called him Konohamaru-chan this whole time. That's why he was so upset with Matsuri.
So next time anyone, frickin' Sauron comes in, he's defending Konohamaru. Sauron. Konohamaru's girlfriend is his ninja way. Are you aware of this? or Sauron, do you know what Konohamaru's ninja way is? I can't wait. I cannot wait. But he continues by saying, my goal is to be the Hokage. I can't lose focus with things like relationships. That's Konohamaru to Boruto / Ramon. So, there you go. That's with the obvious context of the current arc of Tubular Vortex.
Maybe he started to stray away from... The problem is... So, you could write this in a way to where he started to get interested in Moegi or whatever, and because of that, his focus on becoming Hokage started to wane in comparison, and that's why he's not Hokage now, or something. Like, you could do something there, but the thing is, let's be honest, Ikimoto is... I don't care if he watched that scene or not. I don't care if he even remembered or not. He's absolutely not going to call back to it, and he's going to ignore it. And Konohamaru just didn't say that. And Ikimoto's fine.
You say that, but next chapter would be the most likely time to call back to the Remon arc, at least in terms of Konohamaru's arsenal, because we did, if you remember, we saw Konohamaru fight in that arc. What does he do? He has 3 different moves that he does that are like new. And I could totally see Ikimoto, because this would be an Ikimoto thing to do, regardless of Kishimoto. Ikimoto would just be lazy and just copy the anime here anyway. It's the same sequence and everything.
You say that, Udi. You say that. And I'm going to both present a counterexample, and also use it to explain why I would be extra furious if they did that. Mitsuki. Ikimoto has absolutely not been calling on the anime for Mitsuki's power. The fact that Aria's got better reaction speeds than Mitsuki is on enough to prove that. So if he's gonna actually do that for Konohamaru, I don't know how to take that. Like, is he just putting a middle finger to Kishimoto's one-shot chapter and everyone who likes Mitsuki? Like, is that what he's intentionally... Is he going out of his way to make Mitsuki as bad as possible while doing every other anime callback he can at that point?
The fact you didn't use the word mad, you used the word extra furious. Yeah, bro. I love it. So okay, to be fair, there's 2 different aspects to this. The first aspect is the fact that Mitsuki's fighting with his allies, his comrades, and not a one-on-one fight, as opposed to Konohamaru versus Matsuri, to where it is 1v1, just like Konohamaru versus the weird demon thing from the Remon.
But that's all the more reason for Mitsuki to not be doing his bad.
I know.
He's first of all, he's got help, and second of all, he has comrades he wants to protect. You know what makes everyone their strongest in Naruto and Boruto? When you have people you want to protect.
Well, to be fair, what if Mitsuki, since he's been on the room sharing mission for 3 years, what if just like Naruto and Sasuke and Naruto Gaiden fighting Shin, what if Mitsuki is just rusty? We just don't have a Nine-Tails to say it.
So I would be fine with that.
No, you wouldn't.
But the problem
no, you wouldn't.
is that really only applies to his ninja skills, and his Sage Mode power level would be irrelevant because, well, the first time he awakened it versus Orochimaru is as rusty with the power as he
That's
can
exactly
get.
what I was going to say. You wouldn't be okay with it. I was going to point to exactly that.
So, like, I don't care if Mitsuki's throwing his kunai and missing all the targets or whatever. He should still be throwing the kunai at 1 billion miles an hour because he's that strong. Like he can speed blitz Ryu and miss the punch. Okay, whatever. But, like, he should be speed blitzing Ryu. That's the thing.
Okay, well, the other aspect of this is that we actually haven't seen Konohamaru fight 1v1 yet. He fought, obviously, to protect Boruto against Hidari, or Sarada, or whatever there, so I'm not going to count that. And he hasn't fought Matsuri yet. He just got caught by her and got freed through himself. He's about to start his fight against Matsuri. And so let's also remember what Konohamaru's goal in this mission is, or how the mission is supposed to go. And he, again, recapped this with Team 7 and the Sand people right before as well. The whole, apparently, at least this is what Kido was saying, because I don't remember this personally, but what Kido was saying was that, I don't remember if it was someone. What someone was saying was that the point of this mission is that Sarada and Mitsuki and them are going to finish off Ryu, and then come to help Konohamaru finish off Matsuri. So Ryu's supposed to be finished off first. Konohamaru's supposed to be waiting for backup, or at least not supposed to finish off Matsuri expectedly until the backup arrives. That's apparently something that was said. Do you recall that?
I don't think that was said.
I don't think it was said
forgetting.
But let's just go with it for now. Because this helps me with my claim here. So, what does he do?
No, I don't think. No, I definitely don't. Okay, well,
I don't think
even
it was
if
said either.
I'll let you say your thing, but real quick, let's just say Sarada says it in chapter 18 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the plan from Shikamaru because they thought it was going to be Matsuri alone, Ryu alone, or maybe, but less likely, both. But they were expecting one or the other, and it just obviously was the worst situation of both.
I agree. It'd be the opposite of sense if it was said, but someone at some point said it. I think a YouTuber. I think it was Kido. I don't remember though. Either way, let's just go give Kido the benefit of the doubt and say it just was said, and we're just both forgetting, even if it contradicts the manga itself. So it just is the case. So this would make sense for Konohamaru to not Doesn't make sense. It would make sense for Konohamaru to not go for the kill, but rather go for the stall, waiting for his allies, and be like, what are they doing taking so long, blah, blah, blah. So what does he do in the Remon arc? Well, he's fighting a demon that he can't actually attack. He can't touch the demon, but the demon can touch him. So what does he do? He actually has two different sealing sealing. He has barrier jutsu. He uses this green triangle looking thing that does keep the demon inside for quite a while. It does just eventually break out just through power alone. Then he has this second technique, this like translucent pinkish reddish orangish looking, not orange, but like reddish pinkish looking hand thing that just comes out of the ground and grabs the demon, and he's just like squeezing it, holding it tight, and it does eventually break free of this as well, just through the same like essentially shock reflex whatever. But Konohamaru does hold it down for a little bit. But then the third thing, which I think is even the coolest, and obviously, honestly, the most likely of the three, regardless of the first two acting as stalling techniques, waiting for Sarada and other allies to come assist him, the third one just would be cool and could just work for this as well. Monkey King Enra could be summoned, and Konohamaru could use him as the monkey or the staff. I want to see that. I want that to be canon.
So
I need that.
Now I have like 5 things to say.
Okay.
One, Konohamaru's never once had any internal dialogue thinking about this situation, so it's clearly not his mind. 2, Monkey King Enra staff isn't a stall sealing technique, whatever. You might as well just go for the kill at that point. 3, Konohamaru was going for the kill, not the stall. He just faltered because of love. That's clearly what the story's telling us. So he's not doing any of this. Also, coming back to the mission thing, whether the plan is to take out Ryu first and then join up with Konohamaru, the point with this mission is that they're too weak to beat the Shinju in a fair one-on-one situation fight. So the point is to get them off guard. Hypothetically, the plan is to gang up on Matsuri. Okay, it's a gang of 8 people versus Matsuri, that it's still not really a fair fight. You know, it's like, the point is, the Shinju are too strong. So Konohamaru shouldn't just be a 1v1 Matsuri. That just goes against the point of the mission. If he's that strong, you know, like, it's not really what that's not really what the story's getting at. Not to mention that clearly Hidari overpowered him, so like, it's not as though they presented Konohamaru as being as strong as the Shinju anyway.
I mean, regardless of the fact that Konohamaru was cut up really bad, and I'd argue critically injured, regardless of that, let's just assume he's fully healed right now. The point is he doesn't have like a leg or arm chopped off. Matsuri just was like blown in half.
Yeah,
and
the
to be
problem
fair,
is Matsui's whole moveset.
Exactly. I know.
It dictates that was irrelevant damage.
I know, but you can use that to downscale her to whatever Konohamaru's level is inevitably going to be. That's just what the authors are going to do for them to have this one-on-one fight in the first place.
Well, assuming they have the one-on-one fight and she doesn't just devour him in one shot or whatever.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I have no faith. I'm not saying I expect it, but I have no faith that they're going to have a drawn-out battle.
I mean, at the very least, Konohamaru, like, what did we see last? Matsuri lash out her tentacle things at Konohamaru. Konohamaru has the wind-style barricade technique. This Rasengan thing, the Rasen barrier.
Yeah, you know what? Gara has the freaking ultimate mom defense. That's definitely better than Konohamaru's bullshit barricades, so I don't want to hear it.
Okay, I'm just saying. I low-key want to see the green triangle and pinkish hand sealing/barrieritizing Matsuri, even if she breaks out pretty soon after. And then I want to see Monkey King Enra. I want to see Monkey King Enra above all.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with you wanting to see that. Just don't expect it. That said, I don't want to see Monkey King Enra.
Oh.
I want to see Konohamaru be unique. I don't want to see him copy Hiruzen. I don't want to see him. It's already copied. I mean, at least his Rasengan variations are all new.
It's not even copying. He's not using Enma. He's using Enra.
The same thing. If he's just going to become a staff again.
But it's cool.
Not to mention that the staff thing's stupid in the first place.
Okay, no, you don't have a problem with copying. You have a problem with the way copying is done sometimes. They can totally copy and it's fine, okay? Sarada having Chidori isn't a problem. I've never heard you complain that Boruto has Rasengan.
You know why? Because Kodachi wrote those.
Okay, but I think it's not only fine, but a good thing if Konohamaru quote-unquote copies Hiruzen here. Since his whole goal is to be Hokage, he is a Sarutobi clan member. I want him to see him using these few Sarutobi things we know the Sarutobi actually have.
We don't even know that's a Sarutobi thing, or that, as far as we're aware, that's just a Hiruzen thing, because not like Asuma.
Okay, look, I know that it skipped a generation since Asuma just didn't use it, but Asuma didn't want to be like Hiruzen because he didn't like Hiruzen. Konohamaru loved his grandfather. I want him to see his grandfather's techniques. And just like the Remon arc, I want to see him using it and claiming that he wants to be Hokage because that's his goal.
But if that's the case, they should have been doing that since the beginning. They've
Yes.
only had him use Rasengans and stuff. So
But I'm okay if they fix the problem rather than the problem existing in the first place. It already existed, nothing they can do about it. They can fix it though. Just copy the Remon arc and I'll be happy. That's all they have to do. Be lazy. I'm begging Ikimoto to continue being lazy like he's been. Is that too much to ask?
I mean, I don't remember exactly what Enra's personality was like, but as long as it's not boring or weird or annoying, then sure. But I would prefer that he's got some uniqueness to him that isn't exactly a copy of Enma.
Enma didn't have personality in the first place. He did a little bit, but not really. But
We just
either
didn't get
way,
to see Enma in the first place. They could just be on, like, Enma got like 2 lines of dialogue, and otherwise he
and
just
then
was
became
a
a
staff.
staff. Exactly. That's exactly. And if Enra's a staff, it doesn't matter what his personality is because he's a staff. It's not gonna matter. But I'm just saying, Konohamaru's going freaking ham with the staff in the Remon arc. Like, I'm sorry, it's such a problem. It's so sad when I'm hyping up the Remon arc of all freaking fillers to be peak in comparison to Two Blue Vortex. The fact that I want the manga to do the Remon arc, because the Remon arc was just better, is so sad.
So, I don't remember, but like, okay, so when it comes to Enma's transformation to the staff, I don't know if there's a databook scan that like explains how this is unique from any other transformation, but why can Enma just become a staff that's as ridiculously hard as it is? Is it because Enma himself is just that hard? And then, like, the staff is just the extendable whatever.
We know
or
that's
is
not
it
the
a
case.
Specific.
Because remember, Enma was cutting his hand trying to pull the sword out of Hiruzen. I think it was just the transformation.
But he said even when he was a staff that the grass long sword could still hurt him, so that would still be consistent. Because the reason I'm asking though is because if it's not a specific jutsu beyond the transformation jutsu, and it is just a transformation jutsu, what do you need Enma for? Just literally have anything else transform. Now, if it's because Enma is using or if Enma just is that hard, I'd say ditch the staff. What are you doing, you idiot? Just have Enma go ham in taijutsu. He's freaking invincibly hard, like Kakuzu at all times running around. So just use that. That's a much better idea. Or alternatively, number 3. I don't think this is the case at all because he says transformation jutsu and not this, but the best thing should be it's a jutsu. Enma just knows the staff jutsu, and it's a whatever king, Enma, monkey clan jutsu thing that they just do this, and that's just what it is. So, like, nobody else knows it but Enma because he's the monkey king, and this is the monkey king jutsu, blah, blah, blah. That's the best one. The problem is it's the least likely because he says transformation jutsu. You know, blah, blah, blah. But I was wondering if you knew if there's any data book. I'm going to look in a second here. If there's any Monkey King Enma data books, jutsu things.
I mean, to be fair, it is more than just a staff. We know that Enma can control it. He can extend it. He can shorten it. He can move the staff on his own. He has the eye.
But again, my point is... So, okay, but realistically, the extendable staff thing, the only time that was ever useful was pushing the Nine-Tails out of the village. Other than that, who cares if it extends? You never did anything useful with that.
I mean, it's used other times, and it does do things.
When else did it do something? I remember Hiruzen using it to try to hit Orochimaru, and Orochimaru was dodging.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
again,
doing stuff.
He just dodged.
Yeah, well, but it made Orochimaru dodge. So it's doing stuff.
You know what? Anything else could make him dodge.
Yeah, This is just, it worked, okay? He doesn't need something else.
Though,
it was the most efficient.
So I just went to a random data book part, but this thing says that Enma is the Kusanagi blade, compelled to cry out of Enma because it hurt him, who possesses a diamond heart body. So this line on its own, I haven't looked at anything else, is just saying that he's that hard. But I'm trying to find anything I can.
Well, at that point, the staff would be the body, since that's when he was hit. He's possessing.
My point is, I'm trying to figure out. I just want to figure out: is Enma as hard as adamantine, and he just transforms into a staff? Okay. Under a staff forms, he assumes that will. Okay, transformation, adamantine staff.
There you go.
Under a staff form, he assumes that will. Enma becomes adamantine and bears his fangs. The Monkey King Enma's transformation tech. At least they're phrasing as like Enma's transformation technique, but characterized by the hardness of diamond and its at-will extensibility. Adamantine staff is the third weapon of choice, so to speak. Blah, blah, blah. And Enma's transformed into the adamantine staff. Okay, you know what? That's a good point. As we see, he can just like reach his hand out of the staff.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember when he does that?
So the way I'm thinking about
it's clearly not just the transformation jutsu, because it's like something different.
Okay, but even that's good then, because that makes it even more prevalent, because at any moment he can do that, which the fighter has to account for. It's essentially the same as code fighting with his claw grinds. In that way.
Yeah, and from that perspective, my only thing though is I still want to know for sure, is Enma like that hard in general or not? But hopefully it's only when he does the transformation, because if so, that
this doesn't make sense.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
But that being said,
defense skill be. Oh wait, hold on. Forged in the fire of battle, its at-will transformation-based attack and defense go beyond the scope of proficiency to attain the realm of shinobi godhood.
Oh god. So, does this confirm that Kushina's chains are as hard as diamond, by the way?
I guess so, because it's just saying he becomes adamantine, and...
Well, the thing is Kushina's things are like chakra. They aren't even physical, right?
No, they're called adamantine chains. So they could just have the properties of adamantine, but be like... It's similar to like in Hunter x Hunter, a conjurer. Kurapika's conjured chains have seemingly chain durability, like even though he conjures them.
All I'm saying, again, just based on like the tenacity strength or whatever it's called, I forget. Tensity, whatever it is. Kimimaro's bones should still be able to break the diamond chains or staff or whatever, because steel is more foundationally astute than diamond, even though diamond's harder. Diamond could cut it, but you could break the diamond with the steel. So Kimimaro's still on top.
I'm trying to look up these things for like how hard adamantine is.
Captain America's sword's made out of it. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it is supposed to be really hard, but without being brittle. But that begs the question, though, of why is Deepa's like ultimate armor, like the final thing he does with his hand, like diamond-like crystal looking? It's like that just seems counterintuitive. Like, is that the reason Boruto's super high compression Rasengan beat it, because it was just brittle diamond and not like as hard as his normal thing?
The fact that diamond is brittle is hilarious. I don't think the Boruto writers know the difference between the strengths. Like, they just go back and forth at whatever point in time it is. At one time it's diamond hardest, other times steel hardest, other times it's like rock, paper, scissors, but transcending across time itself.
Whether or not Ikimoto forgot, even though Ikimoto didn't write that arc. But anyway.
Well, what I will mention one more thing on the weird staff Enra adamantium strength thing. So it's as it says in the data book, Enma cried out when it was cut by the sword. Similarly, in the Remon arc, when the weird demon thing does I don't know, some wind blowing back thing, Konohamaru hits a wall behind him and falls to the ground. The staff also hits the wall behind it, just like Konohamaru. But then I guess it hit the wall so hard that it poofed back into Enra, and then Enra poofed away on summoning jutsuifying himself. Similar to Gamabunta and the other toads when pain.
But that's kind of making that's making the staff look weak.
I know, but it was hit.
But that
hard,
could just be that could be Enra was young in that arc, so it could be Enra versus Enma. To be fair.
Okay. I'm just saying that was an interesting problem. I had no idea that was a possibility.
Depending on how monkeys age in Naruto compared to the toads, we know that Gamakichi part 1's that tiny little toad, and then in part 2 he's pretty big, and then by the war arc he's escalated to Gamabunta size. If monkey scaling's anything similar, then I guess Tubu Vortex from part 1 and maybe Enra is now more like Enma level. I don't know.
Which, by the way, as a side note, the tadpole that Naruto summoned, this is just a rewrite, that absolutely should have been Gamakichi. And that just should have been Naruto's summoning toad. The whole time. From start to finish.
But then how do you explain when he summons Gamabunta?
Nine-Tails. I guess.
Okay. I like that idea. The only problem then becomes, clearly Gamabunta is Jiraiya's summon. So why is Kurama's summon the same as Jiraiya's?
Listen, Minato summoned Gamabunta to land on top of Kurama. Maybe they had some weird Ninshu connection in that moment. I don't know.
But now we have another problem. Minato summons also Gamabunta.
Listen, I don't care about them. All I care is that Naruto is just Gamakichi.
I agree, because even as it is though, Gamakichi really is Naruto's summon, because including filler especially, Gamakichi is the first one he summons every time. It's just always Gamakichi first. He just always gets Gamakichi, and the war Gamakichi shows up. It's just that is his summon. That's Naruto's guy.
The Warwick one didn't even matter.
Regardless of that, I would just make the rewrite. That is a newborn Gamakichi. They age quick. Well, I guess the problem is, that might be too fast of an aging for Gamakichi to go from tadpole to the one we see in Konoha Crush, because that's a week later.
I don't know. I mean, doesn't Naruto start the train? Well, when does Naruto... No, it isn't. It's a month between it. A month.
He starts... Okay, let's just give him the whole month. Let's just say it's the earliest possible. Yeah. Should he go from tadpole to that in just 1 month?
You say that, but then look at the size they grow to in Naruto. Yeah, okay. Well, they don't change, I guess.
This is using filler, but using filler, considering how much Gamakichi doesn't change in the months after Konoha Crush when Naruto summons him in the filler arcs.
Okay, but if we're using filler, you look at the Guren Three-Tails arc, he's decently sized there.
That's the same as his Shippuden size that we see anyway.
Okay, well, I think that's the earliest we see him in Shippuden, right? So, I mean, either way. Is it?
Well, obviously we see him in the pain arc. I don't remember if we see him in any other random scene in canon, now that I think about it. I guess we probably don't, but...
I mean, either way...
It feels so weird. I just feels like we saw him in canon earlier than the pain arc.
At the very least, regardless of the manga, the anime is clearly doing a thing of, a weird narrative of, him growing over time, so that by the pain arc, or by the war arc, he is just Gamabunta side, and, Gamabunta strength and all that, so... I'm totally down for this just being a size thing that just progressively we see throughout the entire series.
No, I agree. It's just that to go from tadpole to his Konoha Crush size in only 1 month max, possibly less, might be a little... I mean, it's fine. Just do whatever you want with anime anyway, but, it might be a little bit weird. It might just be, too absurd. I don't know. That's only 1 month. That's not 3 years. Okay. But then again, to counter that,
pain arc size to war arc size happens in like, well, anywhere from 1 week to like 9 months. So I guess to be fair, that's a big difference there. So
what about this?
Maybe it is fine.
The easiest fix would just be search for Tsunade. He's the same size. When he summons him versus Gaara, he's just smaller. Like and this is perfect because we see Naruto when he first summons a tadpole, and then like the next summoning, it's like a tadpole but with legs, clearly indicating it's a different tadpole.
Okay, but fuck it, I like
exactly.
We'll
showing the progression
even
of time.
Smaller in Konoha Crush, like instead of being
exactly
a bowling ball size, he's just like tennis ball size, but he looks like a frog.
Yeah.
And then, like, when the frog gets the legs, that just is Gamakichi.
Exactly.
He keeps summoning over and over again, but Gamakichi's just growing day by day.
Yes,
okay,
bro.
I'm so down. The most unnecessary but meaningful regret.
But it's even more meaningful when you think about the fact of why Gamabunta helped Naruto fight Gaara in the first place. It's because of Gamakichi.
Exactly, it's
because of Naruto.
Exactly.
They have that bond
like that makes
the whole time.
I love it. I love it.
We just fixed the Konoha Crush arc. I guess all of Naruto, we fixed Gamakichi. I don't know.
Wait, okay, so hypothetical. Okay, so this one, obviously, okay. There's gonna be a pro and con to both of these because there already is a pro and con anyway, which is gonna sound weird to say, but hypothetically, okay, so as it is, Gamakichi doesn't really do anything in the pain arc. It's just like Gamabunta and them. But in the war arc, you have Gamakichi there. Okay, do you have that as is? Or do you prefer that Gamakichi just is, Gamabunta size, and he is the one in the pain arc fighting? Gamabunta can be there, one of the three, but like Gamakichi being like the main one in this case. Would you prefer that versus how it is? Or do you prefer how it is versus that?
I think I prefer it how it is because I want Gamabunta to have that one last fight just to go out. Essentially, that's his retirement, and that can be where Gamakichi maybe even surpasses him, or maybe not surpasses, but like it's
again, that. Gamabunta would be there in this case. The only difference is instead of Gamabunta being at the center of those three, just remove like the green one and put Gamabunta there, and Gamakichi be at the center.
No, I think I'm fine with it the way it is, even with this. I can see why you're saying it, because this is where Naruto really fully fledged becomes his own to fight against pain with his
so getting into exactly. So like this is when Naruto surpasses Jiraiya, who's Jiraiya's summoned Gamabunta. In this case, instead of Gamaken, Gamaken is the one that Jiraiya summons versus Pain in the Rain Village. You would put Gamabunta there, and then Gamakichi would be in the Naruto fight in this case. This is when Naruto surpasses Jiraiya. It could be when Gamakichi surpasses Gamabunta. The only downside would be, well, in the war, when they do the whole new signing thing, that's a good time to have Gamakichi there because Aoda is there instead of Manda. But at the same time, Manda's retirement's in the Itachi Pursuit arc, which could be when Gamabunta retires and Sakura summoning Katsuyu ruins this whole thing anyway, so it doesn't really matter in the first place.
Yeah, okay, I got one for you. So instead of like the other two random toads or whatever taking out the animal summonings or whatever, in this case, and also Naruto taking out the rhino, in this case, Naruto's gonna be like, Gamabunta, you take care of the animal summonings, and me and Gamakichi are gonna go face off against Pain! As they're like running ahead.
Yeah, or whatever. So Gamabunta would be there again to do whatever, but like his main one would be the Jiraiya. Like I said, Gamaken, instead of Gamaken being ungraceful, whatever, Chief Toad's blowing his cigarette smoke at the chameleon to find its location or whatever you want to do. The point is it's just him there.
Yeah, but in this case...
It's kind of weird that he summoned Gamaken anyway instead of Gamabunta there.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is instead of that, it's just like instead of the frogs / Naruto clones dealing with / stalling / taking out / throwing the rhino to space for all of the animal summonings, it's only Gamabunta just 1v1ing, I guess, the rhino, or just 1v like 6ing all the animals. He just
depends. I will say, so addressing the elephant in the room. The pyramid thing that they do is really cool. Yeah. Like, there's the 3 toads, and then there's Gamakichi on his head, and then Naruto and the 2 other toads on that
wasn't
head.
the elephant
that's
in the
really
room,
cool.
But I see what you're saying. It was definitely cool though.
But yeah, exactly. Now, the other elephant in the room, I would still keep a third toe just because 3 looks cooler than 2, than just those 2. But the question is, who do you put then? Probably Gamaken, but
I mean,
at the same time, we don't know Gamaken if he's not there in the pain fight with Jiraiya, so...
Yeah, I like it being the same one that Jiraiya summons. Then again, you could have just had Jiraiya summon Gamabuta in the first place, in which case you could have 3 being Gamabuta, Gamakichi, and Naruto with Ma and Pa. That would be the 3 in this case.
Yeah. But then they're just not standing in the... I mean, they could be standing on the ground in the middle. Or is Naruto gonna have like 1 foot on Gamabuta and 1 foot on Gamakichi? So that makes sense.
I'd be down for that. I'd be completely down for that. Because especially if Gamabuta's shrinking and Gamakichi's growing, then the war, he'd be bigger.
They'd be equal height in this game.
Exactly. So it would completely work. It'd be so goofy, but I'm down.
Exactly. I don't think you should do that. I think you should just be on Gamakichi's head, who's at the center.
I agree.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Gamakichi on top
we
of Gamabuta.
We just have Gamatatsu be the other one.
Okay.
Gamatatsu, like in this case, play up the comedy. Gamatatsu is both useful and useless in this fight because he's being himself. He's being stupid and goofy, but like I feel like there's another character who this works with, but it's like every goofy thing he does that messes up somehow works at the end, kind of thing. Like, play it up a little bit, but not too much, so that it's like, it's not like he's defeating the animal path with his goofiness, but like, okay, the bird can go to Gamatatsu farting in its face or whatever dumb thing you want to do. Like,
sure. I mean, I low-key do just like Gamabunta just soloing on his own and regardless of all the other frogs.
I mean, yeah, but
like, Ma and Pa do their weird scream thing to, like, stun those 2 animals. I guess Naruto with the Rasengan. Like, in this guy would just take that out. Actually, you could have Ma and Pa on Naruto's shoulders as long as they're not doing the nature energy thing, right? They could just sit on Naruto's shoulders. Kurama can't push them off, I think, right?
Yeah,
so you could still have them help out. Like, they were helping out Jiraiya regardless of giving him Sage energy. Just have them do their tongue thing. Yeah, that's how Naruto can fight pain, like that. Instead of them just being off to the side randomly anyways.
Honestly, yeah. What were they thinking? Like, just latch on.
Yeah.
Like, if you're worried about it, just have Naruto's shirt thing tucked over your feet a little bit so that you kind of strapped on pretty tight. Like, you don't have to merch completely.
I love it. Totally should have done that.
While we're on that subject, okay, yay or nay, have another Katsuyu-like slug so that it's not just Katsuyu.
I'm down.
And so Sakura summons the Batsuyu or whatever.
While we're at it, change Katsuyu to where that isn't 1/120th of her, that's just her.
Yeah.
Just her normal size. And you know, I
yeah,
guess
there's kind of no...
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm fine with it if either we saw it, or rather we knew who could summon, like, hypothetically, Hashirama summoned the whole Katsuyu to fight Madara back in the day. Okay, fine. We see that, like, Tsunade is only 1/20th of his level. This is what it can do, and we see Hashirama use Katsuyu for whatever purpose versus Madara. Okay, then it's fine. But if you're just never gonna summon the whole... What's the point? I mean, it's cool, but, like, at the same time, it's not.
Exactly. And this gets to that other topic that I wrote down that I cannot find for some reason. Just have Naruto have the full Kurama instead of half of it. Like, it's just random to retcon that. Like you were saying, Minato doesn't really do anything with KCM anyways in the war. You just have him have the same mode.
To be fair, this was actually, I think, written in the Pain arc, unless I'm just fake remembering and maybe it's anime only, but I think Minato says, I sealed half of the Nine-Tails inside you at the time. I think he says it then. It might be anime only, and I might be fake remember, but I think he does say he sealed half in the Pain arc when he's talking to Naruto.
Well, do we see him seal it in the flashback? Or no?
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, say that again?
Do we see him seal it in the flashback in the Pain arc, or no?
No, we don't see him seal it, but I think he says, you know, I sealed half of the Nine-Tails inside you because you're my son, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna double check right now. I'm checking the manga because if it's anime only anyway, then it's anime only. All right, let's see. Yep, he does say, I sealed half of that Nine-Tails chakra inside you because I trust you to master this power, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't elaborate what happened to the other end. But again, why did they even write that? Because again, in the war, Naruto just, like, Minato sealed half the Nine-Tails for Obito. He just thinks only half is all that's necessary anyway. And then that half of the Nine-Tails shows itself to still be the strongest tail beast anyway, so it's not like he became the strongest, and Naruto only has half for the entire time anyway, and the real... Okay, you can definitely just say, let's rewrite this, but I think I have the answer. It's so that Madara can get half the Nine-Tails, and then Naruto gets saved.
Yeah.
So that he stays with his normal Nine-Tails level power. Because
also,
otherwise,
so they can
you're just
summon the
have
Ten-Tails. Well, I guess they didn't really need to do it that way, but you know.
Yeah, they get, like, obviously you could just always have the Obito method apply to Madara, but then you don't have the Naruto dying scene, because unless you just have Madara stab Naruto, just like he did Sasuke, but then it's like, well, if he's gonna go ahead and basically kill Naruto, you might as well rip out the Nine-Tails, so how is he gonna get that? How are they gonna get revived? You could just have Obito do whatever nonsense shenanigans so that Naruto survives with all the other tail beast powers that make up for the Nine-Tails, but he doesn't have the Nine-Tails. But then he doesn't have the Nine-Tails, and then in the last fight with Sasuke, without the Nine-Tails, that kind of sucks. So, no.
Well, he would have a vestige of their power since it never goes away.
Except for when it went away. But I think that's the real answer right there. I don't think it's Casey and Minato. I think it's the Madara thing.
Sure. I guess.
And then, I mean, you can do the scene and then have him rip it out of the ghetto statues. Like, Obito just runs up, rips it out, or something.
Yeah.
Or, okay, you know what? You're not gonna like this either. But because Obito does the stab thing to Madara anyway, one option could be that, just like when he takes out the 8 tails and 1 tails chakra, he could, you're gonna laugh, but he could just rip out, like, almost all of the 9 tails, so that Madara has just enough to stay in the form, but, like, pretty much all the 9 tails goes back into Naruto.
Actually, yeah, no, this doesn't need to be a thing. Remember, Madara absorbs the 9 tails when he's looking at those filthy tailed beasts and he's standing on top of that one guy. He could have just got all the 9 tails he needed right there. So you could just have the full 9 tails extracted from Naruto and the Minato gives it back. That's not a problem.
Well, Minato, you would remove the whole Minato Black Setsu thing, because Minato wouldn't have it.
Right, yeah, you're right.
But in this case, like, Obito would just yank it out of Madara. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
but
I
not
don't think
all of it. Like, for some reason, he could only yank out the 9 tails.
That in that case, that doesn't need to ruin the Sasuke Naruto fight at the very end, because Naruto could just have the full 9 tails versus Sasuke, who has the other 8-tailed beast.
Exactly. Or hell, like, again, you could yeah, I mean that for one thing. 8 versus 1. Mm-hmm. Or you could do a thing to where Obito only is able to rip out half, and that's when the half happens. But I would just say have him rip out pretty much all of it. All but, like, the little bit that Madara needs.
I mean, then it's sort of a callback to Naruto versus Obito at the beginning of the war arc, to where that's essentially what Obito is doing. He's essentially using, not the other 8-tailed beast, but essentially the other 8-tailed beast versus the 9 tails. In this case, it's not going to be half the 9 tails.
It's just a slight escalation, because now the 1 and 8 tails are added to Sasuke's arsenal.
Exactly.
It just, yeah. And people say, oh, that's stupid, but at the same time, it's like, it's already stupid anyway, that, like, Madara never has all the 10 tails anyway. He's always missing half. Like, So at that point, it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter if Obito's gonna rip it out. Obito's already ripping out part of it anyway. They're freaking passing around the half the Nine-Tails anyway. So some aspects might seem better with the half and half thing. Especially like when Minato and Naruto are teaming up and they got the half of the Kuramas talking or whatever. That's probably the best moment of having two, but other than that, it's just dumb.
But we don't have to like write the Ten-Tails the way it currently is to be weaker or anything, or the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. They can be written the exact same way to be the exact same strength. The only thing this does is this would just upscale the full power Ten-Tails when it actually has the Nine-Tails, rather than the slightest twinge of its power.
Exactly. Seeing how strong Kurama is, you just know like what they're missing.
Yeah, they're not a problem.
Plus, if you wanted for Daigo, who thinks my guy is really strong, obviously my guy is, but like if you wanted Madara when he fights Guy, oh wait, no, Obito, never mind. Okay, I'm gonna say what I was gonna say and then explain why this is wrong. So you could have Madara have the full Nine-Tails while he's fighting Guy, so it's like upscaling that fight. Then he gets nerfed when Obito rips it out. The problem is Obito rips it out before the guy fights. It's just not even a contender.
So removing Ginkaku and Kinkaku, and honestly, I think this is cooler anyways. Even though this is really cool, removing Madara just directly ripping the Nine-Tails out of Naruto, I just like the idea of Madara as a consequence, Naruto as a consequence. What Madara does is just, he steals the power, the Nine-Tails power that Naruto gave them to assist them, to amplify their power, whatever. This is similar to in real life when, this is freaking back 2015 or something, when ISIS was like stealing the weapons the United States was giving, I guess, the comrades overseas or whatever to fight with, in which case it was inadvertently making ISIS more powerful. That's essentially what Naruto would be doing here. It's a consequence of giving these fodder shinobi powers so they don't die, because once Madara kills one and steals their power, now Madara has the Nine-Tails power. It's a consequence. Even though it helped out, there's a benefit and a drawback, which is there could be an
also do a thing. You could even argue it's foreshadowing for this Madara thing.
My bad. I'm back.
10 minutes later.
Okay, Free will not understand the context of this, but I'm
real
going to say it anyway.
Real quick. I will say they technically already have this through the Divine Tree, sucking up their Nine-Tails power even more than before, seemingly. Or going after them even more than before, since they're going after them.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was going to emphasize that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
it's not really
they only do it for B, like everyone's coming after him. But in this case, I would make a clear emphasis on the people who got the Nine-Tails chakra and or the people who have more of it left are being attacked.
No, you know what? I got an even better thing for you. I don't remember the exact reason why it activates. I think Obito's the one who activates it. He's doing that in a weird way, or at least he's the one that tells it to do it, and it's doing it on its own. In this case, it's going to just naturally react because it's sensing so much Nine-Tails aura around. It's only doing that because Naruto gave them the power. That leads even further into the don't fight back because it's creating further despair.
Because it's already absorbed all of it, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Or most of it.
Yeah, that leads even further into the despair theme, since Obito's whole thing is that he doesn't want them to fight back since it's just getting them killed.
Also, okay, I got another thing to add to this, because as it is, it makes no sense that Obito basically pulls out part of the Ten-Tails, it turns into the Divine Tree, then Madara absorbs it, and he gets an amp as it is. It just makes no sense. Yeah. In this case, the reason why Zetsu / Kaguya / whatever is telling him to absorb the Divine Tree isn't because of anything Divine Tree, but because that Divine Tree absorbed a lot of Kurama's chakra, and Madara needs more of it to cast the Infinite Tsukuyomi. So that's why it's important. It's just the Nine-Tails chakra, basically. And now him getting an amp makes sense because it absorbed a lot of Nine-Tails chakra, so of course he gets an amp.
You know what? Okay, I like that. Even going further, that's the reason he was able to awaken the third eye, because now he has all 9-tailed beasts worth of chakra.
That's what I'm saying.
Sufficiently enough. Yeah, it's the reason he's able to cast Infinite Tsukuyomi. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with Obito, the this is already kind of as it is anyway, but the Divine Tree like didn't have enough chakra to cast the Infinite Tsukuyomi immediately. This could be why he's absorbing the Nine-Tails chakra so that he can do it with the Divine Tree. And the only difference is that Madara absorbed it into himself so that he can do it. But otherwise, it's the same idea.
By the way, Obito said the Divine Tree... I'm just forgetting. He said the Divine Tree was going to cast Infinite Tsukuyomi in 15 minutes.
10, 15, whatever the number
10,
was,
15.
yeah.
What stopped it? Because I don't think Naruto came back to life through his Hagoromo Jesus powers and cut down the Divine Tree within 15 minutes of that happening, right?
I think it's because of Obito's role. And the thing is, they made it seem like the Divine Tree itself is just doing it, but like when... I mean, even as it is, once Obito lost the Ten-Tails, it kind of just seems like that tree was dead. But Madara absorbed it. Like, but it wasn't doing anything, so...
It doesn't make sense. Why did it stop? It doesn't seem like it's connected to Obito. He spit it out. It's doing its own thing.
Yeah. But he is somehow telepathically connected to it.
Wasn't it a husk?
It was a husk that was going to activate the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
It was absorbing everyone's chakra minutes before.
So I think what Obito could have been describing there is that it was going to be ready to be cast in 15 minutes. Not that it was going to cast it, but that Obito was going to cast it in 15 minutes. In which case, though, once 15 minutes elapse, it should still be ready. Madara should just stop fighting Hashirama, run over there real quick, and activate it.
Well, I don't think Madara could activate it without being the Tento's Jinchuriki. Okay, but again, once he became Tento's Jinchuriki, he should activate it, unless this is where it gets into the whole. I'm just gonna say it, Madara's perspective thing, because what we just described makes it sound like Madara's still activating it, whereas if the tree's doing it like automatically, rather than Obito activating it, then this gets into a Madara versus Obito difference that Madara may or may not care about. But if Madara is the one pressing the button to make it activate, it's the same goddamn thing about that point.
Yeah, I'm fine with you saying Madara's character here rather than savior, whatever. So I think that makes more sense. And I don't think that'd be relevant anyways. Since it's not even a Madara Obito thing. It's more so about Madara choosing to not activate Infinite Tsukuyomi as soon as he possibly could. He's still gonna do it, but it's almost like Jura, to where he's putting targets in his way before he does what he's inevitably going to do anyways.
Yeah, the only thing though is Madara both does and doesn't do that, because once he gets the second Rinnegan, he doesn't bother trying to beat Team 7. He just activates Infinite Tsukuyomi before trying to beat Team 7. I mean, so like...
I think it works with the entertainment and duality of man thing anyways. Just to reinforce my point, let's just be honest.
But then I'm just saying, okay, then why did he jump the gun and activate it when he got the second Rinnegan before? Like, why didn't he just entertain himself by beating Team 7 first before activating it?
Regardless of that.
That's implying he was, for the most part, trying to do it as soon as possible. Agree. He did toy around a little bit in the fight with Naruto and Sasuke before trying to get the second Rinnegan.
So what I'm thinking of, let's just say, because I think this would be naturally around 15 minutes later anyways, or like at least a good point for it to be. Something that could be really cool is if 15 minutes elapsed during the 8 Gates fight. You know Madara's not stopping that 8 Gates fight. He wants to fight Guy there.
Right,
the strongest taijutsu.
Yeah. He would definitely see that through. But then once that fight's over, it's like, I don't know. But then again, see, my thing is, you could just argue this is kind of a fault as it is, because it feels like in the 8 Gates fight, and even the Naruto Sasuke fight, the actual part of the fight, he is enjoying that entertainment. It's just that once he realized, okay, yeah, I'm losing here, I gotta go get my second Rinnegan, then he comes back. At that point, though, he stops entertaining it and just goes right to the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Whereas, in character, maybe he should have just fought them first. Enjoy your last battle first before activating it. But at the same time, if you do that, then he can't cast Infinite Tsukuyomi, because that's just going to stop him for all of that.
So, I agree, and this isn't implied.
Or, okay, hypothetically,
go ahead.
Real quick, before you say that,
what would you think about the idea of this is gonna for everyone who wants more Naruto and Sasuke versus Madara? If he just did fight them, but was good. I feel like this isn't gonna sound that enjoyable, but he's fighting them. Eventually, he realizes that he's losing, maybe because of whatever. It's not Kakashi's help. I don't care. He realizes that he's losing, so then he decides, okay, I need to cast this now before it's too late. So then he does it, and then he's thinking that's gonna end the fight. It doesn't, but he's like, well, I've already cast it, so whatever. And then Zetsu stops him, whatever. But yeah, that is an idea.
I don't have an inherent problem with that. It's less so than whatever you'd think I would. I'm fine with that. I would say, though, you could... Again, I'm fine with it the way it is. It's not a problem. I would personally maybe tweak it to more along the lines of, all right, well, I've had my fun. Now let me go cast Infinite Tsukiyomi, since I'm done with this now.
Yeah. I would probably, if nothing else, I would add that line in, because that actually makes a world of difference to me. As little as that is. It actually does.
Yeah.
That said, he would be missing out on a bit of fun.
in which case, I might even change him putting the Truth Seeker Orb towards Might Guy, unless he's doing that out of purely respect, in which case I would just change what Madara says there. He would just walk away and let Might Guy die on his own from being cooked from the inside out or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the thing I was going to say. So I'm going to preface this by saying, I don't like this. But this isn't a rewrite, this is just straight up a possibility, just a theory, even. It's possible. So I already described earlier that people just inherently understand their jutsu even instinctively, like a fish swimming upstream, especially when it comes to the Sharingan, so especially dojutsu. It's possible. I'm not going to argue it's implied necessarily. It's the most indirect visual implication ever for like half a second. It's possible that since Kaguya was already in there and arguably was the Divine Tree talking to Madara in the weird man voice thing that it had instead of Kaguya's voice. I think I know where you're going with this. It's possible that Kaguya just was like hypnosis, brainwashing, controlling Madara subconsciously somehow to just activate the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
Yeah, making him do it like earlier than he may have otherwise done it.
Again, I don't like that, but it is a possibility. Since, I mean, the moment it happens, you see Kaguya there, as if Kaguya's the one that
it also works for Black Zetsu's plan, because the whole plan is make sure Madara activates Infinite Tsukiyomi first, so, like... Yeah. I hate to say that it makes the most sense.
I know!
Even if it's their least favorite.
I know!
It removes some of the meaning behind it, but plot-wise... is the best explanation at the same time. That's the issue there.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's just go with it and never bring it up again.
We're solving mysteries today.
Moving on. Say the best.
Well, now
I got
we
a question for y'all.
With free game.
Yeah.
I got a question for y'all. When do you see Boruto unleashing his Karma Cell and Momoshiki taking over?
Okay, Kamui, I'll let you go first, and I will be right back.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, that's a problem, because I hadn't thought of an answer yet. Because they didn't do it in the Jara Hidari invasion arc. So now it's kind of like, what are they going to do it for? It's either going to have to be a time when Kawaki just resonates his karma around Boruto to make it happen unexpectedly, or someone dies and like that invokes a reaction in him. Because it's kind of hard to imagine Boruto doing it out of a desperation because he's losing a fight, because unless Jura's already fighting him, that's not really a concern. And if Jura's fighting it, I mean, maybe he'd let it out, but maybe he would. I don't know. I feel like it'd be more likely that Kawaki be the one to do in that case. So maybe he could have an emotional reaction to Konohamaru dying. But I'm kind of like, I don't think it's happened this arc, long story short. next arc at the earliest. It just depends on what the next arc is about in the first place. If it's focused on Mamushi and Ada, probably not then. But I don't know. I really don't know.
We got spoilers coming up in like probably like 8 days.
Around a weekish from now, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But I don't think it's gonna happen next chapter. That'd be so random. I mean, like, not to say that it couldn't, but like
they might leave us off the cliffhanger where it's nothing to do with Sarada, and then they just divulge into something totally different, like Konohamaru.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing, though. It's from a certain perspective, a potentially good time to do the Momoshiki thing is when Sarada's there. The only thing is, I feel like I would have preferred her using her. I already don't like her using her Mangekyo when she did anyway, but I would prefer that she reawakens it because of Momoshiki in this case, rather than Momoshiki coming out after it's already reawakened. But
so
those two things together could work.
You think she should have manifested it when Momoshiki came?
She should have manifested it any other time. She should have either done it when Hidari was there or when Momoshiki came out, I think. Or at least just when Boruto's life was in danger.
Yeah.
Which happened last arc. But
I can see that. But did she have she didn't have the Mangekyo when
she's never seen Borushiki. Sarada's never seen Borushiki, so I do think that could have worked as an impactful thing to kind of just rile her emotions up.
Yeah, that's true. But also the distraught that she was going through when, she knew everything was not what everybody perceived it to be, and she was on.
Okay, no, sorry. To clarify, whereas I don't like her original awakening either. I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to her reawakening, quote unquote, that she just did last chapter with Yodo and Aria and Ryu and all them. I was referring to that. I'm saying that I would prefer her reawakening to be related to either Hidari or Borushiki, not Ryu and Yodo.
But Ryu is it's
completely irrelevant to Sarada.
I don't know.
She's never talked to Shinji in the manga. She's never talked to Yodo or Aria before this. She doesn't care about any of these people here.
I would say Shinji.
She's never spoken to Shinji in the manga.
Did you want my answer to the
in the anime? She did.
So no, we moved on.
And it wasn't good. Yeah, she fought Shinji and was mad at him. That's her experience with Shinji.
Well, there you
go. Udi, were you listening to any of that?
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure she had a conversation with him in the anime.
I'm sure she's had a conversation with him, but like, long story short, even in the anime, Sarada's not close to Shinji by any means. It's not she's not emotionally invested in Shinji in any capacity, like a member of Team 7 or Chocho or whatever. Now I don't remember. Oh right. Oh yeah, Udi, you missed a lot actually. I wish you were just listening, man.
Sorry.
Question: since Udi hasn't been listening, do y'all think that Sarada will beat Yodo? I mean, Shinji or Ryu? Sorry,
Ryu.
Ryu.
I hope not.
Why not?
If anyone was going to primarily beat Ryu, I want it to be Mitsuki. And I'm willing to take, like, if they just randomly reveal that Mitsuki was holding back for whatever stupid ass reason, I don't care how bad it is, I will take it. But I don't want anyone beating Ryu besides Mitsuki.
Why?
A lot of reasons.
Give me one.
Mitsuki's supposed to be strong.
Wait, who? Supposed to be strong?
Mitsuki.
You know, the kid who
Supposedly.
speed blitz, it was
Supposedly.
stronger than Orochimaru as like a 5-year-old when he first awakened his sage power. And then the anime's only proven to be really strong. And then in Two Blue Vortex, his sage mode does nothing. How about that, Mitsuki?
You know, the guy who in base was contending with Shinki in part 1, who could have easily mopped the floor if he used the Sage mode, but chose not to. Yeah, the same guy Urashiki said was dangerous, just at the slightest sparkle of his power.
Too dangerous to let use that power, and then proceeds to be like willy-nilly laughing at Sasuke with his Rinnegan and Shukaku and Gaara without even using his own Rinnegan powers.
Question.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think was the worst Kara member out of all of them?
Manga or anime?
Both, Victor.
This makes a big difference. Manga or anime makes a big difference.
Manga.
Victor.
Why does that change your answer? Okay, you can't say the girl from the Squid Games arc that you haven't watched, Kamui. Unless you're going to say Boro because he's boring. In the anime.
because in the anime, I'm not choosing Victor as the worst Kara member. He's the most hateable, but I don't think he's the worst character-wise, like villain-wise.
You have to include an inner. You can't just say random Joe Schmo outer from the filler.
I didn't.
Okay, who are you gonna say then?
If we're using the anime, a little bit tricky. I'm either picking. You're not gonna like this. I might pick Delta, or if not Delta, maybe Boro. I don't know. That's kind of tough.
I love Boro
maybe Victor still. One of those three. In the manga, it just is Victor, but
yeah,
in the anime, it gets tricky.
I'll admit, Boro's probably the biggest change from anime to manga. Well, I guess Victor doesn't count. Okay, we have to exclude Victor. He's not an inner Kara member. It just doesn't count. Okay?
Ikimoto forgot he was an inner member.
He was in all the meetings.
Yeah, for the 2 panels he was there. He was. Congratulations. Doesn't count.
But again, that's why I said it makes a difference in manga versus anime.
I think excluding him, Boro's the biggest difference from anime to manga. They added so much there for someone who didn't have anything at all for such a large amount of screen time that Boro had.
Yeah.
He has the longest fight in Boruto manga.
I think Code is the opposite. He's the one that the manga did the most with that the anime didn't expand on at all. If anything, they
did the expansions earlier. They did it before
Okay. You know what they did earlier? They changed his black marks to metal. Random silver. Okay,
but they also added a few extra. I'm not saying they did a lot.
Yeah. When Jigen flipped him, it was cool. I know. Like when he was aura farming on Boro, I liked that as well. It didn't have.
I wasn't referring to that so much. I was referring to like some of his conversations with Delta that kind of set up the whole, failed vessel white karma stuff. Like it kind of was building towards that. I mean, it's manga, pretty small, but like
unless you're referencing something I'm forgetting. I think what you're referencing is in the manga, unless you're referencing something else. I'll also
add. It's
add,
not in the manga.
They might have added a couple of traitor scenes, but I wouldn't consider any of those any individual member of Kara as a scene for them. I would reference just all of Kara as a whole for any traitor thing that they were adding there. They were all trying to find the traitor, playing Among Us. That was cool.
One of those scenes is what I was referring to. It's a scene with Code and Delta, but
okay,
it's not in the manga.
In which case, I would account it not to a Code scene, but to a Kara scene.
But it was specifically about Code's characterization with Jigen and his devotion and how he seems to be eerily jealous of Kawaki for some unknown reason.
Yes. Again, I'm not saying it added nothing. I'm saying of all the Kara members, I think it added the least.
I think they added the least to Delta.
Okay. That's it. But with
So
that,
They added the most to
if I
Deepa,
can say,
objectively.
if I can say what my favorite card member is, it has to be Amado. Amado is my favorite card member, and if I give a second one, it would be damn, I draw a blank.
Well, who was your pick for your worst? You never answered.
Oh, my worst?
Yeah.
Victor.
Okay, what about in the anime then?
Victor.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's your second? Who's your worst three?
Worst three card members?
Yeah.
Victor.
I'll answer one of them for you. Probably Boro.
Victor, not Boro, because
Really?
that was one of my favorite arcs, kind of like, and then like, you got to see Sarada do her Chidori, so like that was one of my favorite episodes. I can go back to back and watch that, so definitely one of my favorites. Boro wasn't like a slouch, like Boro's going crazy, so I like Boro.
So back to worst three then.
Cold. I didn't like Cold. Okay. Even when he was introduced, I didn't like Cold.
So who's your third pick then? You picked 2 out of 3.
My worst?
Yeah, your worst 3. You've got Victor, Code, and who else?
Who was in car?
Well, you've got Jigen, Amado, Delta, Victor, Boro, Code, Deepa. I'm not counting Uga because I haven't seen the art yet.
I can't pick nobody else because I liked a lot of them. Maybe Delta because, like, not that I don't like the character. It's just that I didn't like the fight with her and Naruto. I think they could have did that better, but that doesn't diminish the facts that I kind of enjoy the character. I wish they would make her less like sweetheartish, if I can make that.
Oh, like now the new Delta with Ada and them.
Yeah, like I wish she would go back to the same Delta, like because Delta,
bitchy Delta.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, Delta.
To be fair though, your least favorite doesn't mean you don't love them. Yeah, like my least favorite Akatsuki member is still someone I really like.
Who?
Oh, I don't know. Probably Kakuzu, but still like the guy.
It almost takes away from the point to list the name.
Who's your favorite?
Are you asking me or Udi?
Both.
You know, I'll give the answer that will enrage Kamui the most. My favorite Akatsuki member is Madara.
No, you did a good job of not answering the question.
Kara, bro.
Okay. Oh, favorite Kara member?
You already know, Deepa. You already know.
Not a competition.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Did I give you our worst?
Yes.
For manga, I like again. It just is Victor.
Well, let me convince you really quick of something, Kamui. So, to be fair, we might be being a little harsh. We're looking at it holistically. When you have to look at, like, best versus worst, again, this is the thing with the Attack on Titan finales that I was saying, how I want to separate those into 2 different videos, the best finales and the worst finales, and those are 2 separate lists, not the opposite of one another. So, when you're looking at Victor, he's not really there. You can't really say he's the worst because he plays his role and he plays it well for as small of a role, insignificant, as small of a time.
It depends on what you mean. Yeah. So the real question is, what do you mean by worst? Do you mean worst written or least interesting or least favorite? Because those do give, well, 3 different answers technically.
Yeah. Because with Boro, whereas there is a lot of good things that he does, like the things that Pregame was mentioning, we've made a whole 20-something video on how Boro ruined Boruto. You might just have to be the
How
worst
did
in that
he
regard.
ruin it though?
Well, go watch the 27-minute video.
I don't even remember all the points.
I'm about to watch it like right now. So like, give me bullet points.
I actually don't even remember. I like the moment if I rewatch the video, I'll remember why it's boring. But like off the top of my head, I don't even remember because we've gone through like a bazillion topics. Sometimes I just forget some of the stuff we've said.
Give me a couple.
He's boring.
Who do you
I
remember?
remember that.
Who's boring?
I think neither of us actually remember.
Huh? You said who was born?
Boro.
Boro. Why?
What do you mean? Why?
Okay. We'll have to honestly. We'll have to just rewatch the video, write the bullet points of the podcast topic, and send it to you outside because I don't remember.
Why was Boro boring though? Like he was.
We weren't talking about being boring. We said he ruined. Ruined Boruto.
He didn't ruin Boruto.
I don't.
How?
I don't remember why.
What he did,
bro. Look. Boro. He was like the prefaces to like Ada and Damon and stuff like that.
Okay, no, he wasn't. They threw the word Boro in before Hideout to make it cool.
But hold up. My bad. Somebody was talking to me. But like Boro, like he was references to like Ada and Damon, and he was sanctioned to guard over Naruto. Like, I mean, I can agree that he got beat by kids, but they like outsmarted him. And like I don't think Boro was born because he was whooping their ass and he made them think in a way that they weren't privy to thinking, as far as like finding out like the poison and stuff like that, and like working together and and able to defeat Boro so they can get Naruto back. So like I don't think it was like he was a boring character. I think that was like a ladder or a stepping stool that it had to get to progress the plot.
Well, two things I'll say is one, again, I don't remember what we say in that stream, but we were saying Boro ruined Boruto, not that he was born. Two, which was definitely an exaggeration, by the way. I remember making the title because it was hilarious, but I don't remember what we said. But two, what you just described isn't Boruto's character being interesting, but his abilities being interesting. / his fight. Which would be a little bit different. Yes, it's part of the character, blah, blah, blah. It's not his character. It's his moveset
and
that
real
you
quick,
just described.
Before we go too far, I disagree that Boro was the preface to Ada and Damon, because that's like saying that Orochimaru was the prefaces to Kashin Koji and Two Blue Vortex. That's not true. He's just using that hideout. It's a little bit more there for Boro, but like they could have gave that to anyone, and that's not really doing anything. If
did I use that? Did I use that word wrong? I meant like it was kind of like yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I still don't think that's necessarily something that I would give his character, even though it's cool. I see why you're doing it, yes, but I don't think it's enough to really justify anything for me. And that's also another thing, is that I think that you're looking at more like the highlights, because yes, we all agree that Boro had good moments, but he had a lot of bad moments too. Because something can be good and bad at the same time, and then you just take the holistic approach of where it averages out in terms of both good and bad. But if you separate the two, then you can look at it from both.
I'll also add with the Ada and Damon thing, as it is, everything with Boro and Ada and Damon, it hasn't really been about Boro so much as it has been about Ada and Damon.
The one caveat would be, well, was Boro planning on betraying Jigen at any point? Maybe. They have implied it more than once, but they've never done anything with that. Buck's a freaking tree now. I doubt the most she knows. I don't know that they are going to go back to that, which means you can kind of ignore that. And really everything about that has just been, well, Ada's powers led to Boro doing this and that, more so than Boro's own ulterior motives. And at that point, it's not about Boro. He just happened to be the guy Ada charmed, and Jigen happened to tell Boro to store them away.
Now,
the most I can really give to it is still a hypothetical. Was Boro the one who subdued them with his virus in the first place? If so, freaking cool. I hope it's true. But as it is, we don't even know. We don't even know how they got in the ceiling pots in the first place.
I think they just chose to do it, or they just did it when they were asleep. That being said, or maybe Amado added a sleep code thing or whatever. But I
don't think. Again, if he did, he would have shut her down in chapter 69 when she appeared. He wouldn't have been shaking in his boots, having internal dialogue of him freaking out. He would have just shut her down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, doing it in their sleep, then you're right, that is possible. But then again, Damon's always freaking sleeping on Ada's lap. Can he reflect things while he sleeps?
Yeah, he can.
Can they put him in the pot?
Well, remember,
I don't know.
Remember, he did reflect when he was asleep. He did it against Kawaki in the code arc. Kawaki blasts the code.
Well, the problem is he could have woke up
so.
the split second that he reflected. So. But he was asleep when Code grabbed him. The question is, did he wake up from Code grabbing him before reflecting? I don't. Who knows? Nobody knows for sure. But
we don't know. We know he was awake afterwards.
Exactly. So we can't say for sure. But you're right in that it's definitely a reasonable possibility. In which case, again, Damon's freaking always sleeping on Ada's lap. So like, how do they put him in the pot? Right now, my only theory is the virus. But like, that's the best theory, but they've never once said it. So, and I don't think they're going to address it unless they do in a Damon fight later on, where they're like exposing his weakness or something. But like, until then, we don't know.
I mean, I think you can still do things to Damon without reflecting. Like, Boruto was able to like push Damon around when he's going after Himawari. I don't think that's really, you know what I mean?
Well. I mean, that's why I made a video a while ago that, based on what we have seen, Damon just doesn't seem to reflect regular taijutsu physical attacks.
No, I don't think that's the case. I would include Code's claw mark as taijutsu, even if you don't.
Not claw mark, but his claw hand.
Claw,
you mean?
Yeah, his claw.
I think it should be counted. But, like, if it isn't counted, then it's consistent. And it's something that it's reasonable to not count, even if I personally wouldn't.
Well, again, I know that you disagree, but I still think Kawaki thought about punching him, not scientific ninja toolsing him.
The problem is we didn't see it. We should have fucking seen it. I don't know why we didn't see it. It would have been cooler.
It doesn't cut
but
him.
We didn't see it.
It brute force pounds him in the cheek.
Okay, but the same thing happened when he freaking Kawaki. This doesn't make sense. But in chapter 74, Kawaki pulls out a Ninja Tech sword blade hand, goes to hit Damon with it, and Kawaki's just thrown back. No cuts, no nothing. Make it make sense. Amado's defensive regenerative powers did it. I don't care. But that's just what happens for some reason. So frankly,
at the very least, force.
Was Kawaki even in danger of killing Sarada in chapter 78, or was he just going to throw her back?
That's funny. But in that case, I would say it's the force of the punch that hit his cheek, Kawaki's cheek, when he thought about punching Damon, or scientifically. Like, he wasn't thrown backwards. He was, like, sitting in his chair, and he just, like almost leaned over. So at the very least, if it was scientific ninja tech, it was not hard.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. I mean, again, we don't know what he imagined. He might have thought of slapping him with it versus stabbing. Like, again, we don't. I just wish, from every angle, I wish we saw what Kawaki imagined, because A, that's just cool. B, now we understand this better. Like,
but
why
also,
didn't he draw it?
Also, the fact that it like hit his cheek to the side instead of like blasting him backwards. I don't think a scientific ninja tech was just gonna like do that. I think it would have like normally how he usually does it. He would just blast like into their chest from like his position.
I mean, again, the problem is we don't know what he imagined.
Yeah. I just think it's crazy.
And in the manga, Kawaki never just does punches like that. He just doesn't do that. So,
I mean,
based
it's not
on
like
consistency,
I don't think he was planning on fighting Damon actually like that anyways. I think Damon was annoying him, so he thought about punching him. I mean, yes, it was right after that they said that if you have ill intent against Damon, then it reflects on you. So, yes, Kawaki was testing it. But I think Kawaki was just annoyed at Damon in general.
Well, they also say killing intent. So for all I know, he thought about killing Damon in his mind. And if he's going to kill him, he's not going for a punch. He's going for ninja tech stab.
Okay, but they just say that. We know that things that aren't killing intent are reflected. Otherwise, they would just die.
I mean, bro, from some perspectives, Damon's abilities make no sense because it's inconsistency. It's inconsistently explained, but that's the point.
Like, Code wanting to scratch Damon's cheek or whatever, that wasn't killing intent. That wasn't going to kill Damon.
Maybe Code thought it would.
That being said, I wonder how that would work for Sasori. If Sasori imagined poisoning Damon in like the cheek, Sasori's cheek would be filled with poison, but obviously his body is puppet. So how does that work? Would he actually be poisoned in a puppet body? Would it be his discarded corpse would get the poison, which obviously wouldn't affect him? Or would it be just poison running down his puppet cheek that doesn't actually poison him?
See, then, so it does depend on exactly how the ability works. But as far as what I've seen, at least the action reflection, so not the thinking in your head reflection, but the actions reflection, it just reflects the attack as is. Case in point, Kawaki was trying to, literally obliterate Code, and he wasn't obliterated. Kawaki tanked his own attack.
Yeah.
So it just did the attack as is. In which case, it would just put either the scratch or the poison scratch on Sasori's puppet cheek and presumably do absolutely nothing. And that's just how it is.
Okay.
However, when you get into the mental intent, thoughts, reflection thing, I don't know if it works differently there or not.
Well, but then again...
Because we haven't seen anyone's thoughts.
Then again, I don't know. I think I might disagree. Because it feels like, hypothetically, let's just say that Code got Kakuzu's diamond morph armor, and he used it on his cheek specifically, or Deepa, even. He had the diamond armor there. If Code thought about scratching Damon's cheek, and let's just say that Code's claw marks are weaker than the diamond morph armor, I think it would still cut through the diamond morph armor with the reflect intent. I don't think it would just like dink off its intent or whatever. I think it would.
That's why I said I was referring to the actions reflections, not the intent reflection.
Yeah.
Because we don't know enough about the intent reflection.
Okay, so you're making a distinction between the two different reflections. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yes, because the intent, mind, thoughts one might be different.
Yeah.
But as far as the literal actions reflections, it is just reflecting the attack as is from what we've seen.
Yeah, you were thinking about it even further than I was, so...
Yeah,
okay, Alright. Invincible!
How do y'all feel about like abilities like Enon? Could he like reverse the mind transfer jutsu?
Where would that go?
Wait, what?
Yeah, like what happens if Eno tries to use mind transfer jutsu on Damon? Does it just not work, or does she like mind transfer jutsu her own
it's
mind?
Not killing intent. I don't think so.
Would it create like a lag between her thoughts and her body movement?
I think
at
she
that
could
point?
still do it.
Like a controller.
I think she could. Yeah.
I think she can mind transfer jutsu to him because attack. It's just like Shikamaru's shadow possession. The attack in of itself. Well, actually,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Then again, we're running into a problem. She could definitely do it to Ada, but as we've seen with Damon, so Code's claw marks. He's allowed to use those on Ada, but he's not allowed to use them on Damon. So, like, maybe she guess.
I would think so.
I think Ada, just mind transfer herself.
I think so, yeah. Like, okay, so the thing is, with Ada, Code's allowed to put the claw marks on her, but he isn't allowed to actually kill her, even though he's allowed to, like, put his finger through the claw mark and up to her neck or whatever. Yeah. I think it's the same with Damon, to where Ino's allowed to think about it, but the moment she gets the intent to actually try and do it is the moment it would reflect. So you're allowed to think about punching Damon, but you're not allowed to actually
I don't know.
How can you reflect on mine? I don't understand that.
I don't know. Because if she performed the mind transfer jutsu, she would in herself be the one stabbing herself. So
that's his mind. Like that's his mind. So that's how I see it. Like, I don't see how he gonna reflect something that's directly at his mind. Like, that's weird.
Well, how the mind transfer jutsu works, as we see in the Sakura prelims fight, is that it forces your mind to override the other person's body, forcing the other person's mind deep down into that body, and Sakura was able to override it because Sakura's inner strength, as well as Ino's lack of chakra, or whatever the explanation was.
Ego.
Not only
well.
that, though, but Ino literally shoots her mind at the person like a gun.
Yeah.
So, like, sure, it's reflectable.
So,
but she also got saved by Naruto. Naruto also saved Sakura in that fight, but people don't say that.
So in this case, I do think it would work like this. I think it's going to make two Inos. I think it's going to create an Ino to override another Ino, and Ino's going to be pushed deep down into her body while a second Ino is in her body, overriding it. It's going to be like the Ino Sakura moment in that fight, except both people are going to be Ino instead of just one of them. It's going to break reality. It's almost like Kaguramo's creation of all things at that point.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Oh my god. That's crazy. Okay, I have another,
Well, but then again, though, like, what happens with Shikamaru's shadow possession then? Like, what do you...
They're just two different abilities. Like, his is an actual kind of like a physical ability. Hers isn't really a physical ability.
But like, what happens though? Like, so like, this shadow just turns the other way and it attacks Shikamaru, but then like, whose movements would he mimic?
I think he could probably reflect the shadow possession.
I don't think.
But like, how does that work?
I don't think
especially if it's a shadow strangle jutsu where you can try to, do that. That's kind of an healing intent type of thing.
See, that's the easiest one. It would just strangle him.
So yeah,
I don't even know if you would see
easy, but like
a shadow on his neck. His neck might just constrain
the strangle jutsu. Like, he's tried that on multiple people.
Yeah, but like,
so that one would definitely reflect. But
for an example, the guy that tried to blast Damon, we see the explosion, so the explosion manifests into reality, but I don't think the bullet itself did. I think the impact from the bullet did, which is what created the explosion, the explosive shell. But it's not like that shell stuck around or was ever actually there. So similarly, I think it would do the same thing for the shadow strangle. You would see Shikamaru's neck be strangled, but the shadow wouldn't physically manifest on his body.
Yeah,
I don't. The shadow might manifest, but it would just be on him. The question, though, I'm asking is shadow possession, because that's just like on the ground.
Yeah.
But like,
on the ground,
whose movements would he mimic?
Well,
with shadow possession,
I'll get to that since that's the most interesting one. What I will say, shadow paralysis, I think is also interesting because I believe the shadow person needs to be the one to break the jutsu. In this case, I don't think it's that he's going to think about it and like launch the shadow paralysis at Damon and it's going to turn around to hit Shikamaru. I think it's going to be, he's not going to get the jutsu off, and there's going to be a shadow that either manifests on the ground in front of him that just goes towards Shikamaru just from nothing, as if like almost like Madara's limbo at that point, where it's just like nobody doing the jutsu. and it's going to hit him, or just you aren't going to see it at all and he's just going to be hit by it.
Yeah.
In which case, I don't think he would ever be able to break out of it, since there's not another jutsu caster to break the jutsu, which would be a requirement for the shadow being broken, unless he's able to overpower his own jutsu, which I don't think that's how that works. I don't think he could do that.
You don't think he could do what?
Like, hypothetically, if Shikamaru casted a shadow clone and put his own shadow clone under shadow paralysis, I don't think that shadow clone would be able to break out of that shadow paralysis. Now, I'm sure someone else could break him out of it if they overpowered the shadow, but I don't think if Shikamaru did this on a Damon,
You don't
I
think
think
Damon could break out of that?
No, I think it would be infinitely stuck.
Damon will break out of it.
Damon would never be
most
hit by it.
definitely. With just his pure strength alone, he could get out of that.
If he was hit by it, but he wouldn't be hit,
it was
probably.
characters. It was characters that broke out of it.
Yeah. Okay, so shadow paralysis is the most interesting one. This is what Kami was getting at. So it would either do nothing to where, oh, well, who's he mimicking? Well, since nobody else exists, he would either do nothing, which would essentially be the same as the shadow paralysis, or he would just be unrestrained, able to move however he wants, since he's the one doing it. Or, the third possibility, since he's the one doing it, it's going to double his movement. So if he moves his arm to the left 1 centimeter, then the shadow paralysis is going to copy that, and since he's the one doing it, it's going to move his arm 2 centimeters to the left in relative movement to the 1 centimeter. So he's going to have double movement. He's going to have double speed, double power, double everything.
Momoshiki broke out that.
Exactly. That's true.
So whereas
But
yes, that was
he
Shikamaru's
absorbed it. He did absorb it though.
It was Shikamaru's shadow, but it was Momoshiki casting it.
Yeah,
even if he's not.
He absorbed everything. Literally.
And we know that Momoshiki is able to change things because he changed the one Rasengan he absorbed to red and also made it amplified way huger, but that's normal anyways.
To change Shikamaru's shadow. Shikamaru used the shadow strangle jutsu on Momoshiki.
He did.
He spit out the Shikadai shadow possession. Speaker thing.
So there you go. He fundamentally changed it regardless. So it was just hiss at that point. Oh god. That's crazy.
So that kind of implies that in theory, if he absorbed a water dragon jutsu, he might be able to just make it a water shark jutsu, so long as he knows how to do that.
I agree. In fact, that might be... Oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. Those, firebirds and other things he was doing, even the rock golem, that could have all been jutsu he absorbed from other planets that tried to fight back and failed.
No. My answer is those are Boruto's jutsu that he transformed into those things.
So cool. But did he do it afterwards? I think he did.
No, he said Boruto's jutsu first. The only problem, though, is Boruto never shot an Earth-style jutsu for the golems that he spits out.
Okay. I mean, that's later
because
anyways,
the whole
I'm
point...
okay with that.
No. He uses a golem at the arena. Nobody notices this. He uses all three. He makes the water dog, he makes a firebird, and he makes the earth golems at the arena.
I mean, the
in
golem
the movie and
way
the
smaller.
anime.
The lava
it is
golem.
smaller, but it's definitely the golems. I made a video on. I put the screenshot of the thing. It has the glowing yellow eyes and everything.
That's crazy.
Yo,
what chapter? You gotta catch that brave, but it's there.
What chapter you think Boruto would intervene?
4.
This arc,
for this arc?
Yeah.
Well, there's no guarantee that even will.
That's if he intervenes.
The problem is he has no way to see it right now. So either
Sarada might have this.
Yeah.
I'm holding out a little hope for that.
So he's going to intervene either whenever Koji tells him, or whenever he just gets impatient, or hypothetically, if he flying Raijins to Ada, and Ada tells him what's going on, and then he can choose when to intervene. But he's not going to react to the fight otherwise.
think
can't see
she's
it.
already she gotta go out, man. She gotta go out.
So you don't think he gonna step in?
No, if anybody, Kawaki might come before him.
Why
If
you think
anybody,
Kawaki?
we got to get
Well, when he
these
gets his
shit.
power up,
man.
he
Yeah.
might think he's got this.
Kawaki's less careful. He has nobody to tell him to not to do it. So.
Exactly, and people not trying to go after him and kill him. So no,
And
The thing,
if he bodies the Shinju, then yeah, that
dude, with this
would
upgrade he finna get, he probably will.
yeah that'll be fire. That'd be fire.
the thing with
Yeah.
Boruto is that he
But
needs
that's
like
his
a
motto
reason
ass
to go there, because like as it is, Koji's telling him don't go. The only reason Boruto's going to go is if one of his friends or lives are in danger, but he doesn't know when or if they're in danger. So like Koji's obviously going to tell him no, they're fine. So it needs to be a thing to where Koji's obviously lying for him to go. But if it's believable, he's just not going to go because he knows that he could be messing things up. So he needs an actual reason to go there. Is the problem for Boruto?
And part of
Yeah,
the
but
That's the reason. He has
it
the
was
reason.
like a conflict between the
He
two.
has the reason.
So
part of the issue.
Yes, but Boruto does need to know for sure that like his friends are about to die right now before he goes.
It's going to be determined next chapter. It's going to be whether or not the Mangekyo Sharingan works or doesn't. And if the Mangekyo Sharingan just wins,
Why would
Sage
it
Mode
work?
is dead. It's going to be gone. It's going to be killed and stomped on into the dust.
What's the dust?
Sage Mode. If the Mangekyo Sharingan works, if they give it the spotlight, especially if she does a
What does
1v1
Sage
solo
Mode gotta
fight
do
against
with
Ryu.
But what's
No,
stage mode got to do with?
Mitsuki's stage mode. If Sarada's Mangekyo wins the fight, we can just forget about Mitsuki.
It just shoot. That was just a counterpart. Like it's Iron Saiyan. Like it's not many things getting through that, regardless. So
Mitsuki hasn't done anything in this fight. So like again,
but that's
if
that's the
Sarada's
problem.
Mangekyo wins, we can just forget about Mitsuki.
He's helped more than others have in this chat. I mean, the past couple.
Araya has better reaction feats than Sage Mode Mitsuki.
But
as
Araya,
proven by Konohamaru.
Invincible. You directly said the problem. Mitsuki's Sage Mode is just a counterpart. That is the issue.
But you're putting like he's just the main. He's a side character for a reason, man.
Sarada is a side character.
But he still does things like you're saying like so you're saying he's weaker than Araya? That's what you're saying?
We don't think
just because he had that sword to nullify anybody, because he got that from.
He didn't have the sword last chapter.
I know, but you're talking about that. If he never had that sword, you wouldn't be talking the light that you are of him.
No, because we were specifically referring to a reaction feat, which has nothing to do with the sword.
Yeah.
What reaction feat are you talking about with him?
If you go back and reread the fight, he just blatantly, obviously does. He's just reacting to things that Sage Mode Mitsuki isn't able to react to. In terms of Ryu and
what did Mitsuki not react to though?
Like every time he was
everything.
Hit. Yeah. Or every time he doesn't land a hit.
What did he react?
He got some successful hits in on him. Do you not remember that in the beginning? He got some successful hits off on him.
Yeah.
He got help. You need to go look again. Mitsuki had got some solid hits on him.
Because of Araya.
But so did everyone.
Exactly.
So did Sarada.
Araya had it because he had the sword, man. I guess, man. You can do
what
that.
Was Yodo's excuse?
But the only reason Mitsuki got these hits off are because of Araya's sword.
But that would, yes, but like Mitsuki, he got that from his skill power. Like he got that hand given to him with some chakra in it from what's his name? The sand guy. I forget his name already. That's crazy. Shinki, yes. Shinki helped him make that sword. He didn't do that on his own. That's all I'm saying. Like Mitsuki is doing all of
If
this.
you're gonna play that game, Mitsuki
Really?
didn't learn stage mode on his own. It was
Exactly.
given to him by
He
Orochimaru. So I don't know.
he kind of awakened it on his own and started doing the abilities on his own. So how did he not? Did you with Orochimaru when him and Log was going at? He awakened that on his own.
Okay, well, but that makes it even worse. Base Sarada
How?
got everything on her own, and she's doing better than Sage Mode Mitsuki.
She's supposed to be the Hokage, so I would think she would be. Mitsuki is just trying to support Boruto. Really, that's his son. So that's all he is a support character.
So
that's
what's Konohamaru's excuse?
You think
Konohamaru?
Sarada should be equal to better than
Sarada,
Sage?
I feel like Sarada is gonna be above Mitsuki.
So Invincible. Invincible.
Especially if she's gonna be a Hokage, she's got to be above Mitsuki.
Invincible. Let's
Okay, but,
rewrite
like,
the war.
When was she in part 1?
Huh?
But in part 1, when was she ever better than base Mitsuki? Never. Sharingan Sarada was never better than base Mitsuki. And now we have base Sarada better than Sage Mitsuki, which was a ridiculous amp.
Disagree with that. Mitsuki and Sarada was a lot on a similar level, especially when it came to them fighting a lot of them villains. Because Sarada played equal part as much as Mitsuki did in a lot of those fights that they had together.
That's fine, but that doesn't disagree with what I said. I said she was never better than Mitsuki in part 1. So if she's equal to base Mitsuki, that doesn't really matter.
And she wasn't. Base Mitsuki was Shinki's level. She wasn't, and she didn't catch up.
When they fought Deepa, who looked better going against Deepa, Mitsuki or Sarada? Please tell me.
Mitsuki. That's why Deepa tried harder on Mitsuki.
That's crazy.
Rewatch
man. Sarada was doing boy, y'all need to watch fights again. Sarada was going off.
No, she did not catch up to Shinki's level. Come on.
Mitsuki didn't even crack his shield or whatever the hell he had.
Well, Invincible.
Sarada was doing all of that.
Two things. Well, two things. Whether or not she's cracking, that's just a specific thing as far as Deepa's fight. But let's just disregard. I'm going to give you benefits of the doubt. Let me give you benefits of the doubt just to emphasize the point. Let's just say Sarada was better than base Mitsuki. Let's just assume that. You would agree. I assume you would agree. You would agree that Sage Mitsuki was better than Sarada, right? You would agree with that?
Sage Mitsuki he was nerfed. He couldn't do much with Sage mode at that time.
Why?
He only could use it for only a little period of time.
Okay.
He couldn't do it for he was nerfed in Pizza.
Regardless, you would still agree that he was stronger, right?
If he's nerfed, then okay. Sarada, surpassed a nerfed Mitsuki? Not normal?
Sage mode, all she had to do was outlast him in Sage mode, and she would have beat him because he couldn't do nothing.
That's not my question. My question is, while Mitsuki is in Sage mode in part 1, you would agree that Sage Mitsuki, while he's in Sage mode, is currently, while in Sage mode, stronger than base Sarada. Or Sharingan Sarada even, right?
We still talking about around the Deepa time?
Yes, any time in part 1.
Okay.
While he's actively in the Sage form, he's stronger than Sharingan Sarada, right? Do you agree?
Yes, I will agree. But I will say it's not...
No, that's fine. Now let's continue.
Let me
in Two Blue Vortex, Mitsuki doesn't have the drawbacks, clearly. Never once mentioned it, he's always been fine. So we can ignore that. So why is Sage Mitsuki now weaker than base Sarada? Because Sarada's losing the Sharingan here, and Mitsuki is only gaining Sage Mode amps. Why did that gap disappear?
Right now than Mitsuki. They both really haven't. They've done about the same. Before
that's the problem. Sage Mitsuki was stronger than Sharingan Sarada, and now base Sarada is equal to Sage Mitsuki.
What's wrong with that? They've both been training together. They've both been training
And
together.
why is he getting weaker by comparison?
How? Because they both said they was going to get on Otsutsuki level. Both of them said that. So they're both going to be on a
Only one of them
similar.
did it,
They're both going to be on a similar level.
but they're
That's just
not.
how it is. They
Well,
are.
no.
They
Hang
are.
on.
You
They're
can't
both
say they're not,
training
'cause
together.
They are.
They're both training together, and they're both getting stronger. Mitsuki
Yes.
started stronger than Sarada. Why was Sarada able to catch up and get stronger faster than Mitsuki?
Faster. I would say they've came.
Udi,
It's
can you make
about
a
the same.
diagram? Let's make a
It's about
diagram.
the same. That's how I view them. I just view that they're on similar power levels. That's just how I view
So
it.
at what point would you say that Mitsuki was stronger than Sarada? What arc?
He was faster than Sarada.
Yeah, which point in time would you say free game?
Deep
The
arc.
beginning of Mitsuki. What you mean?
No, the
That
deep
was
arc.
faster than Sarada. I
Okay,
would
you know
say the
what? Let's just say arc 1, okay? We have Sarada and we have Mitsuki. And we'll just say Sarada is at a 5 and Mitsuki's at a 10. These numbers don't actually matter. The point is Mitsuki is clearly stronger and Sarada's clearly weaker during arc 1, whenever you want to say this is.
Yeah, he should be at that time because you was with Orochimaru, all of that type of stuff. So you should be at that time. Sarada didn't have the likes of Orochimaru and all of that type of stuff
Okay.
at that time.
Yeah, she just had the
Not even
likes
her
of,
father.
Sakura and
Not even her
Sasuke.
father. So he should be stronger than her at that point. But go ahead.
Okay, and then let's just say during arc 5, obviously since they're growing
agree.
together, they're both training.
I would disagree. She had Sasuke and she has Tsunade. So
he didn't have Sasuke like that. He wasn't always around. When he came,
she has Sasuke.
when she came to finally see him, he was finna kill her. He was gonna kill her because he didn't even know if that was his daughter or not. So they haven't really been seeing each other like that. All she had was mainly her mother. Her mother was there. That's how she always had the physical strength. It was always there because her mother was there. But he wasn't there. He was the Shadow Hokage. He was always gone. So
still down the line, like he showed up more and he was training her
later, later. But that was only for little spurts. That wasn't for long periods of time. Like Mitsuki had for long periods of times with the Orochimaru. No.
He didn't really have a long period of time with Orochimaru anyway, to be honest. He was born in a test tube, had his memories wiped, did the Stage Mode Awakening, and then left.
Well, how old was Mitsuki before he came to the village?
The Mitsuki test tubes indicate that Mitsuki was just born at an age later than 0. Like in the Mitsuki Desertion arc, there just are 13-year-old Mitsukis in that test tube.
When was he born?
We don't know.
Oh.
But evidence indicates he probably wasn't born as a 0-year-old based on what we have seen.
We can assume that he had to develop in the test tube and actually grow into.
But you still have to learn all of them abilities that he has, like the snake.
He was just born with that.
No, he was born with that.
You gotta just because you're born with it, don't mean you know how to do the abilities. You still have to learn from somebody.
Ask Delta and Kashikoji because Delta and Kashikoji were born to knowing how to do all that.
Yeah, and you gotta also.
That's different. He's like an
you gotta also consider the fact that Orochimaru was
that's different.
My bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Mitsuki's the same as Kochi and Delta. He was just born with the knowledge.
He's not an android, though. He's not an android.
Neither are Delta or Koji.
They kind of are like androids.
They were cyborgs. They are genetic clones. Mitsuki is a genetic clone too.
Yeah, hold on. Like Kamu said, he's a genetic clone. He's not an android.
Yes.
So he can be implemented in his DNA and stuff like that to be proficient in certain jutsus without even having to practice.
That's exactly what they did with Koji and Delta.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like Orochi. You think Orochimaru didn't train him at all? Like I just it's hard for me to believe that.
I mean,
Like,
he probably did, and then you have to get into
exactly my point. Exactly.
But Sakura trained Sarada too.
We have that OVA though.
Sakura, yes, trained Sarada. Yes, that's true. That's true. But Orochimaru is a much better teacher than Sarada. I mean, Sakura.
I mean, I agree, but the series isn't indicating that. I just think that is.
You know what we need?
Huh?
You know what we need?
What?
Another Mitsuki OVA.
Why? Why do you need? Log is still around somewhere. Why do you need more?
Well, because we got it in Boruto. I would like to see the TBV version, like how he was able to like perfect this, or I mean, if you want to say it's perfected, it's his stage mode.
The problem for a game is that in part 1 of Boruto Naruto Next Generation's the manga, Mitsuki just uses Sage Mode. Nothing indicates there are any problems, and he is seemingly just fine using it. The manga just never addresses this whole he's gonna die if he uses that thing. That's entirely anime only. The Mitsuki one-shot chapter doesn't address it either. He just awakens it then.
Part 1. I haven't really felt that way in Two Blue Vortex. I really haven't felt that way for like his life with that. Because he hasn't really shown that, like you said.
That's one of the problems, but that's besides the point.
Well, I think what they said is like Log gave up some of his organs, so he doesn't have that adverse effect from using Sage Mode too much.
No, that just healed him of his current heart failure that he had. The problem is he still seemingly does have the drawbacks. Otherwise, okay, why is he not using it in the Boro fight? Already asking that question anyway, but like, why isn't he using it if he has no adverse effects? Use it. What are you doing?
I think he did have it. I think he still had it at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
What
do you mean he didn't have it at that time? He used it like 5 other times before that.
He was still nerfed at that time. He really was.
Okay, but then the question is, when and how did he overcome that nerf? That story is never going to address.
That's facts.
Why would he use Sage Mode in the Boro? Why would he use Sage Mode in the Boro fight when it's not perfect?
Because they weren't beating him for a while. Especially when Boro whipped out the giant Boro form that Boroshiki had to bail them out of. That's a good time to use their Sage Mode, isn't it?
Almost died.
He got that thing taken out of him where he couldn't regenerate no more. That man was done for.
Well,
Mitsuki almost died if it wasn't for Boroshiki saving their asses.
That's true. But that was
also Udi, real quick. Udi, you've put a lot of effort into this diagram, and I just want you to know, I hope you have a lot to say on it, because this has nothing to do with what I wanted from a diagram, so I'll have to still tell you what this is.
I mean, I might as well just keep going.
What diagram?
I'm sharing my screen. So this is what Invincible is saying, is that we'll just assume that they're growing at the same power for now. So at Arc 1, Sarada's at a 5, and Mitsuki's at a 10. So then at Arc 5, again, the numbers don't matter, but Sarada and Mitsuki's both grown. Sarada would be at a 15, and Mitsuki's at a 20, because they both grew 10 numbers. So my question is, if they should be both growing at the same rate based on what you were saying. Realistically, I think Mitsuki's probably growing faster based on what you're saying, that Orochimaru is a better teacher than Sakura. So my question is, why would it actually be that Sarada caught up and got a plus 15 to actually grow up to 20 along with Mitsuki? instead
Mangekyo.
of at her 15, where she would have been at a normal growth rate like Mitsuki. Realistically, Mitsuki would be higher.
Mangekyo.
But you're
So,
saying
yeah, but okay,
Sharingan.
Invincible, there lies the problem where we just disagree with what's actually happening. So now we need
the
to do that.
Mangekyo Sharingan is just it's strong. It really is.
No. But see, but Invincible. The problem is, so we'll make a diagram for this, but the Mangekyo Sharingan isn't what equaled her to Sage Mitsuki. She was literally earlier showing herself to be even with Sage Mitsuki in her base form.
And this was before Sage Mitsuki. You were saying that Sarada was equal to Mitsuki in the Boro arc, which comes right after the tuning exams arc, to where Shinki and Mitsuki were equal, and Sarada was struggling against Shinki with Boruto's help.
Yeah.
So why did Sarada get a bigger amp? This is pre-Mangekyo. So why did she grow faster?
Uchiha, man. That's it. Just
Bro, Mitsuki's probably half Otsutsuki, man. He looks like Toneri.
Man.
Nothing about being Uchiha makes you grow faster. It's about being a prodigy that makes you grow faster. That's why Sasuke was so impressive.
So is a prodigy.
That's facts too. That is facts.
90% of the Uchiha were irrelevant fodder, such as who was it? The Sasuke's neighbors that were selling the fruit? What did he call them?
Auntie and uncle.
Auntie and uncle, yeah. They were not.
Well, actually,
besides the meme. Okay, we're not doing that now. We're doing that another time. That hurts our argument. We're not doing it right now.
Okay, but Udi, if you make another diagram,
yeah,
we can kind of get at the bigger thing. So,
no, I get it though. I get it. But like I said, like shoot, they do got to explain. I feel like they still got some explaining to do during the time skip with certain characters.
We agree.
So, Udi, I want you to make. Okay, so we're gonna give a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for this. So make all the way to the left. Make 2 even size bars.
Okay.
We'll do your bar thing again. Okay. Try to make them too wide. Okay. Now make a third one right next to it that's just like twice as tall.
Okay, so Sarada, Boruto, and Mitsuki?
No.
Oh.
Like I said, we're giving benefits of the doubt. The first 2 bars will be Sarada and base Mitsuki.
Okay.
So BM.
And
then the big one's SM for Sage Mitsuki. This is part 1. Okay. So we're just assuming Sarada and Mitsuki are equal. Sage Mitsuki is clearly way above. Now we go to 2 blue vortex, make it. So then for this one, we have you make 3 bars again. Okay. So to make them
I'll make them taller.
Do 2 evens. Do 2 evens and 1 big again. Okay.
Yeah. I know where this is going.
So, but now what it's going to be is you have Sarada,
Base Sarada, and Sage
Mitsuki, and Mangekyo
Sarada.
This is what happened.
Mangekyo Sharingan.
Why did base Sarada randomly catch up to Sage Mitsuki?
Please elaborate.
Because, like you said, they both said they want to be Otsutsuki level. They both have. Mitsuki has a stronger desire to get strong and kill Boruto. If anything, he's very motivated.
I don't think he wants to kill Boruto anymore, though.
He did over the time skip.
Yeah, over the 3 years where they got stronger.
I'm talking about afterwards, like after he got arrested and everything.
Okay, but Mitsuki didn't just randomly get weaker, nor did Sarada randomly get stronger in between arcs 1 and 2 a year. It wasn't like in between is when she got stronger. She just already was there at the beginning of Super Vortex, so that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
We think we're gonna see more Shiki.
Huh?
My bad. I'm too far away from the mic. When do y'all think we gonna see Momoshiki?
I mean,
As soon as Boruto's karma goes off, which I don't
Pretty much.
think that's going to happen this arc. Where I think it would be best
No.
is it needs to activate not from Kawaki, because I always hated that, and I hope it doesn't happen, because that would just be dumb in every regard. I always disliked it. I think it should happen from Hidari. Whenever Hidari does something bad that Boruto would hate, such as killing one of his comrades. Maybe Sarada. Maybe devouring Sarada.
No, don't do that.
I mean, like I said, it should either be like one of three things: the one Udi doesn't like, the Kawaki resonance. This is no particular order. I'm just listing the three. So Kawaki resonance, a emotional reaction to a bad thing happening, such as Sarada dying, Hibawari dying, or whatever, or it's like he's choosing to do it because it's the only way to prevent that bad thing from happening at the expense of letting Momoshiki take over. So as an example, if he's activating karma to save Sarada from Hidari, knowing that this will let Momoshiki out, and then from there he doesn't know what will happen next. Kind of thing. It's gonna be one of those. It should be one of those three anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's just, I don't know how their relationship really is now either. Like, they haven't really gotten to that either. So it's hard to really know.
By the way, I didn't get the chance to say this earlier, but Invincible, you said something, and I cannot let you get away with it. So you were saying the reason that Sarada should be stronger in base than Sage Mode Mitsuki now is because she wants to become Hokage. So why was Nawaki blown
He's
up?
been wanting to become Hokage. So
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine.
So why was Nawaki killed?
Huh?
You know,
Nawaki.
Dawn's child person.
No, Tsunade's brother. The kid who wanted to become Hokage, who looked like and acted just like Naruto.
Uh-huh.
So why wasn't he, like, Hokage level?
Why did he die? He was blown up.
I can't remember how he died.
Well, I'm telling you, he was blown up. Okay, you know what? Here, let's remind you of something you do remember. Okay, so let's just rewrite the war arc based on this hypothetical. See, you remember when Madara came back to life? You know, oh my god, he's not Edo Tensei anymore. Oh, he's regained his former strength. So why didn't Kiba just come in and Fang over Fang?
That's okay. I'm glad. I was gonna go there. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, just kill Madara.
Wait,
why did Kiba just win?
Kiba wanted to be Hokage.
Anyway, why wasn't he just that god tier level? But he wants to become Hokage, and he's wanted to since part 1.
Is Kiba Kage level? Would you say that?
He doesn't. No, it doesn't boost you to Hokage level. It boosts you to Otsutsuki level. Apparently,
to be a Kage, you have to be at least Kage level.
Yeah, and Kage level dies against a Ryu.
But is Kiba Kage level?
No, he should be Otsutsuki level.
No, that's the problem.
That is the problem. I agree.
Wanting to become Hokage doesn't make you Kage level or Otsutsuki level. It's irrelevant.
But anybody that's Kage level can become Hokage if they wanted to, and if they
that's also not
they
true.
Have the criteria to become.
Yeah, but Sarada wanting to become Hokage has no bearing on that.
What's wrong with Tsunade being Hokage? She didn't even want to do it at first.
No. Your argument was that Sarada wanting to become Hokage was a reason for base Sarada catching up to Sage Mitsuki. We're saying that wanting to become Hokage doesn't mean anything because Kiba
training hard to try to get to that. She's always been trying to train hard.
Mitsuki's been training hard too.
We don't know what he's done in the time skip. Like I said, they haven't said anything about that, so we don't know. What has Sarada done? We don't know what her new abilities could be with this Mangekyo.
What did she do over the time skip? Apparently, absolutely nothing. She complained. Huh? She complained to Shikamaru enough to get herself demoted, and then she barely talked to Sumire to the extent that she didn't talk to Ada over the time skip at all.
But she awakened it like she already knew that she had it in a way. because
Yeah, just like Sasuke.
She only wanted to
everyone
use it for Boruto at first. She only wanted to use it for Boruto, so she really knew that she
And
had
she didn't use it for him.
Huh?
And she didn't use it for him.
Yeah, she didn't use it for him, but she's wanting to use it for the people that she was trying to take care of. So
Boruto literally asked for help.
In the sense, she did do it for Boruto.
No.
in
Do
a
you
way,
remember?
yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, in
Boruto,
a way.
Boruto wanted to use Uzuhiko against Hidari. He said that I need help. Konohamaru assisted Boruto there. Meanwhile, base Sarada sits in the background.
Hey, she was doing something against Hidari until he
didn't do anything to Hidari until Hidari already caught her. It was dragging her into the claw.
He caught her off guard.
Sarada defended
with his
herself.
main ability that they're well
He
aware
didn't do it up front to her. He caught her off guard, doing the claw marks and hit her from behind. That's what he did.
Okay,
what he did.
From
He
the writer's perspective,
he had to play strategic with her.
Okay.
He had to, because he know how Sarada is very smart in combat as well. So,
considering the events of the most recent chapter, why did Ikimoto write it so that Konohamaru helped Boruto and not Sarada?
You talking about against Hidari? Well,
Yeah.
she got Chidori streamed basically.
But it wasn't. But that wasn't
That's
a.
She was already down.
That wasn't protecting Boruto.
That
was protecting herself.
But she got caught off guard, is what I'm saying.
The point is,
her
so what Udi's saying, what Udi's
right?
getting at is, there was a point where Hidari was coming after Boruto. Konohamaru's the one who jumped in front and protected Boruto, not Sarada. The only thing Sarada did was when Hidari attacked Sarada, not Boruto. Given this latest chapter is saying Sarada's true strength is only coming out to protect Boruto.
He wasn't
so from a writing angle, why did they choose to have Konohamaru protect
because he
Boruto
wasn't damaged. He had to do something and that showed his new ability with that barrier jutsu that he used.
But that could have been done. But they could have reversed the roles. They could have reversed the roles so that Sarada saves Boruto while Konohamaru saves himself. Besides, they already showed that jutsu before that scene anyway. He already used that jutsu.
Sarada being hurt has nothing to do with her using her Mangekyo. She's tired in the current fight. She's using it. And it's not about what they do, it's about what they could do. Regardless of whether she succeeds or not, Boruto asked Sarada for help, and she didn't activate her Mangekyo.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
So there you go.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Shoot, they didn't say that.
Well, me and Kamui, no. You're not gonna like it.
We don't know what other abilities she could. She can have more than just one. You gonna get at least 2 to 3, maybe even 4. We just gotta see what
That's not helping this
problem.
That's making it worse.
How? It's Mangekyo Sharingan. Look at how Sasuke, when he got his, he didn't have just one ability. He had multiple different abilities.
Invincible. The point is, if there was only one ability, you argued the ability we're seeing would have been pointless versus Hidari. But if we're adding more abilities, that's a greater chance of it being useful versus Hidari.
Yeah.
Mangekyo, you don't just get one ability with that; it's multiple.
Again, you're helping us.
What? That she's stronger?
No, that too. But
I mean, thank you.
You're helping us again.
I mean, that being said, regardless of the latest chapter, I did like when Konohamaru helped Boruto in that moment, since it was showing growth since Konohamaru didn't want to help Boruto previously.
Exactly.
So that's why they did it realistically.
That's why that worked.
Yeah. Like a pretty big moment, but regardless of that, the latest chapter no longer is as great for Sarada.
Not great for Sarada. It's looking better for Sarada than Konohamaru right now.
Even from a writing perspective, not from whether she's going to survive.
For Sarada right now than Konohamaru. Konohamaru is folding.
The way
He's
it will go, I agree. The way it should go, definitely not.
You're saying Konohamaru is folding. He's not listening to what his Hokage told him to do. He's folding.
Konohamaru's his own Hokage.
Exactly. He's trying to do something, and that's what's going to probably. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope nothing happens to him, because I actually do like Konohamaru. But
I mean, okay. What? No, because part of being a ninja is disobeying your Hokage in a way. Look at the written test. That's essentially the point there. Not really, but you get the idea.
Not really.
And even Naruto changed the shinobi system.
A lot of them did cheat.
Yeah, Naruto changed the shinobi system. And look at the Boruto era. You aren't supposed to just strictly follow orders like a tool anymore. That entire thing has been discarded, essentially. It's been snuffed out because of what Naruto's done, making the era of peace. So no, Konohamaru shouldn't follow orders. He should follow his heart. All ninja should, and
that's literally what Kochi... That's also what Kochi tells Shikamaru to do.
Why are you keeping her alive? Why keep Matsuri alive knowing Moegi is still there? That's your actual lover that you actually do love, compared to this.
Well, actually, according to the anime, Konohamaru's lover is his ninja wedding.
I feel like he actually loves Moegi, especially from this past chapter, like them flashing back with him. I feel like he actually liked her.
Well, the Ramon arc definitely disagree.
It seems like he actually likes her.
Here, Invincible, while we're here, okay. I'm just gonna screenshot something for you. I'm just gonna have you read it out loud. So I'll put this in the general chat. So, Invincible, go ahead and read this quote for everyone. Please, go ahead. Preferably out loud. It is in the Cloud Ninja Podcast general chat.
Good. Relationships. If you have the time to think about stuff like that, you should be training. My ninja way is my girlfriend. My goal is to be the Hokage. I can't lose focus with things like relationships. Konohamaru to Boruto Remen. When did he say that?
During the Ramon
arc, as I just said.
You said what arc?
Konohamaru, the last arc.
You said the last?
Konohamaru, the last.
It's a joke. It's the Boruto anime Ramon arc.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Konohamaru said this.
Yes, that was then, though. But he hasn't gotten into a situation like this where his close loved one is like this and going through stuff like this. This can change and be life-changing for you. So it could be. I feel like he has feelings for her. That's just me.
Okay. Well, if you remember, part of this arc...
You can say my ninja way is my girlfriend all you want to, but just about every Hokage still, they've had their girlfriends and whatever. So
if you remember, part of this arc was about Naruto putting Konohamaru under house arrest because of his mission with Ramon and how that didn't work out the way that it was supposed to, since Ramon was supposed to be married and all that. And Konohamaru disobeyed those orders, which is why he's under house arrest. And then, you know what he does? He disobeys orders while under house arrest and leaves his house to go save Ramon. So, I would disagree. Oh, by the way, Ramon basically almost dies at the end of the arc. She loses her memories, and Konohamaru's just fine with it. He doesn't go and reintroduce himself or anything. He just knows that she'll never remember him.
Yeah, he was hardcore right there. He can be like that with that, but can't be like this with Matsuri. Crazy.
He clearly liked Ramon.
You can be like that with her, but not Matsuri.
That's the thing. They were definitely setting up Konohamaru and Ramon being a couple in that.
I guess, man.
He literally did
Especially
the Minato Kushina grab
I'd
save
rather
thing.
be
that's also why he says that my ninja with my girlfriend line in this arc in particular, because the point he's saying it, and then they're showing him developing feelings for Grandma
Yes,
and how that influences him in this arc. So
Moegi is feeling the feelings that Matsuri is feeling the feelings that Moegi is feeling. So
not
Moegi is feeling like,
necessarily. They
huh?
could be, but it doesn't inherently have to be that way.
Why do you think
It
she's been
could be, but
crying
it
and
doesn't
all
have to be.
stuff? But she was crying and doing all of that. She didn't want to kill him and all of that stuff because she actually likes him. And how's it not? Like,
Well, why can't
No,
that
so
just
what
be
I'm
because
saying,
that's
Matsuri
Moegi
likes him rather than
Sakura.
what
Moegi?
I'm saying,
Like,
yeah.
get their
So
feelings
obviously
and stuff.
there's a connection to Moegi there, but it doesn't have to be. I'm not saying it isn't, but it doesn't have to be. Moegi romantically liked Konohamaru, therefore Matsuri romantically likes
But
Konohamaru.
he
It
does.
is possible that Moegi just cared about Konohamaru as a friend, but Matsuri likes her romantically. That is possible. The same way that Hidari doesn't like Sarada yet, despite Sasuke clearly doing it, and
It's
so on.
possible.
Like they don't have to be 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Especially considering if you want to say they're 1-to-1 at the start, then fine. I still wouldn't say they are. But as time goes on, they're clearly developing as their own individual sentient being with
Now they,
self-awareness. So they would just change from
Exactly.
that person anyways.
this is really this is kind of Moegi's first arc really being out after the stuff with Gara. That was her first stuff really coming out. So this is really her first coming out party. So I feel like this is the start of it. That's what they're feeling in the beginning stages until they start, like you said, getting their own thoughts and ideas and all of that stuff.
Well, this will actually be a perfect segue into something else. So, are you one of the people that think that the reason Jura cried is because he's feeling what Matsuri is feeling?
I'm actually doing a segment
Yeah,
in my next video
I think
explaining my
so.
answer to this.
That's kind of like his
I think so
friend.
because they're from the same being,
Yeah,
like Tensel. So
it's like
I
kin
think they have some type of like
attachment to each other.
yeah, exactly. Like they feel what each other feel.
Okay, so I would disagree, and as time has gone on, I've disagreed more and more. So Jura shouldn't be feeling what Matsuri is feeling and all the other Shinjus.
What do you think he cried for? Why do you think he teared up?
Well, I'll get into that in a moment, but just to
Okay.
debunk that really quick. So the reason that Jura shouldn't be feeling what Matsuri and all the other Shinjus are feeling is because he didn't feel her rage or Ryu's betrayal. And if he did, he wouldn't hype up Team 10 and he would destroy the world because he's pissed like in Koji's worst possible future. Or at least Koji would warn against making the other Shinjus angry because if Jura gets angry, he's gonna destroy the world.
But is Jura privy to Amado's not Amado's Kashin Koji's like he can see into different timelines?
Koji can see
Doesn't
Jura.
no, he doesn't know. He doesn't even know who Koji is yet.
Yeah, plus that doesn't really
exactly.
matter.
So
Well, what do you mean how? Why would that matter?
How wouldn't that matter?
That's
He's in the dark about something. So that can like foil his plans because he's not adept to like everything that's going on. Like Koji's power is so fucking like broken that he can see into every different timelines.
Yeah.
So far, I don't know if the Shinju can do that, but it's stated that Kashi Koji can do that right now. We haven't seen anything with the Shinju being able to like have any premonition or anything like that.
No, it doesn't that way.
It feels like you're having a counterpoint to a conversation that we're just a different conversation, like one we're not even having.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Either way, I'm sure we're all in agreement. Matsuri had intense anger towards Konohamaru.
Yes, after he tried to kill her in a way, so who wouldn't?
So then Jura would have destroyed the world if he could feel Matsuri's feelings in that moment.
I don't think he would.
I don't think so.
Why? Jura would have been angry. If Jura's feeling Matsuri's feeling, and that's why he's crying, then that means Jura is sad just like Matsuri. So therefore, Jura would have been angry just like Matsuri when she was angry.
They only showed him time after she was crying and doing all of that.
Yeah, he shed his hair.
They only showed him
one
one time.
Mad, though.
That they didn't show him, so we don't know what his reactions was.
Like he even has some sympathy for Konohamaru.
Yeah, he's understanding how the world is and why people love and stuff. Because he read all.
I want to say he's understanding, but he's like learning as he go.
Yeah, he's learning. He's learning. Not more so understanding, but he's.
If we're gonna say sympathy, then he has sympathy for all Konoha Shinobi at this point. Or realistically, the sympathy comes from the fact that he thinks Konohamaru, like all humans, are essentially suffering from their limitation of failing from their love and all that other stuff.
Love, yes.
And reasoning and all that stuff we went over earlier.
Yeah.
But
and that's been a bit pushed too. Yeah. You know how Naruto writers do.
Yeah. Plus, the other obvious debunk to this would just be like in not Matsuri's introduction, but like chapter 5, when Jura asks who all the Shinju's targets are, he would just already know, or he would already know how Team 10 is feeling when Matsuri says she can feel their deep.
He literally says to Matsuri, "Those emotions you are feeling are your own. I don't feel them." Blah blah blah. He literally says he doesn't feel their emotions.
So it's not that. I do think it is the Rinnegan linked eye vision. Because otherwise...
he could see them. He probably could. With the claw mark, something with that. That he could probably...
It's either it's either going to be the claw marks where he's physically watching, or it's going to be through the Rinnegan's linked eye vision, or it's going to be through Matsuri's trees, or whatever that turns out to be.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Because if he was just feeling what they're feeling, then he's not going to be able to assess the battle as it's going on. He's just going to know that Matsuri's angry, then sad, and then surprised, or feeling betrayed, or whatever. He's not going to know that Konohamaru failed his Rasengan, etc. Because he's not going to know that. He's not going to see it. He's only going to feel what Matsuri is feeling. Matsuri isn't feeling like, oh man, Konohamaru missed his Rasengan or whatever. So that's not a feeling. So not like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. Damn. Someone will say. Let me get back to it.
Okay. Kamui, what do you think? All right.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Yeah. Do you think that we're going to get some significant to like the pain arc where like in the end Naruto was able to like talk to Jutsu Pain or Nagato and release the Shinju?
Well,
I don't think he's gonna be able to do that to Jura. He probably can do talk no jutsu.
No, I'm talking about like. Oh, you said you don't think he can do it with Jura?
I don't think so. It's old Suskis do their own thing. Ain't no persuading to do with it.
So two answers to this.
But you got the 10 tails. That's basically Otsutsuki.
Yeah, the 10 tails is evil. I'm not going to listen to the fact that they're wild, beast cub, innocent, naive beings that were just born. The 10 tails is evil. If you try and look at them as such, as the story is presenting them, you will regret it down the line when they do something evil, like kill your favorite character. I'm not gonna buy it. They're just evil. They need to die. They need to be eradicated as ants.
Theosuke, this is a different being. This is like Shinju.
They can't Nine-Tails.
They're a threat to the world.
Well,
They're literally the worst possible future.
We don't know that the Nine-Tails is Osusuki. Like, unless you prove me wrong.
Immortal, you got it
then? I'm trying to think of.
Yeah. It's no lore that they're Osusuki.
I mean, I can't prove you wrong, but I will say
Nine-Tails are. They are. I just feel like the Nine-Tails is Otsutsuki. Just the beast itself is
at
Otsutsuki.
the very least, Kaguya merged with the Nine-Tails.
Yes, he was the Nine-Tails, basically.
Yeah, but wouldn't that make like Naruto and like Killer Bee, like wouldn't that make them Otsutsuki? Because
they're not the Nine-Tails though. They're just
I'm fine with them being part Otsutsuki. I would consider Kimimaro part Otsutsuki. Yes, I think they all are. Hagoromo and Hamura were half Otsutsuki.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, they was half Otsutsuki because their mom was like.
Yeah, but then that goes down the line. Indra and Asha are a quarter Otsutsuki. Their children are 1/8. Their children are 1/16. You get down to Naruto, he's like 1% Otsutsuki or whatever. He's still Otsutsuki.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. It just.
But I don't think the Nine-Tails is Otsutsuki.
So why do you think the Nine-Tails needs to devour Otsutsuki in order to produce its chakra fruit? Where's the connection there?
I mean,
Does it have to be an Otsutsuki? Well, they got Himawari now.
Does it? I mean, they say it needs to be a living Otsutsuki sacrifice because apparently it doesn't feel like the Otsutsuki chakra is enough. It needs to be the body itself.
What you talking about? Is this what you talking about?
Yeah, you need a living Otsutsuki sacrifice in order to make the divine tree because you need to feed it to the Nine-Tails. Yeah. That's why Momoshiki wanted Kawaki.
Yeah, I get that part.
That's also why the karma exists in the first place, so that they can essentially revive because they need to die through the Otsutsuki.
Yeah, but I don't think the Nine-Tails is Otsutsuki. I think they need to I think they need to devour Otsutsuki so they can progress. It's like, if you will, putting the seed into plant when you want to manifest it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a byproduct of them feeding themselves to them.
The Otsutsuki devour themselves, and the Nine-Tails, I don't know if it would devour another Nine-Tails, but that'd be interesting if we ever saw something like that. I could totally see it though.
Yeah.
Let's check Chat GPT.
Might as well.
So what?
Might as well, yeah. I'll also add the fact that both Madara and Obito got white hair and like greenish, whitish skin when they fused with the Nine-Tails. Mm-hmm. So people say that they became Otsutsuki in that moment. Plus the fact that they're listed to be immortal, same as Kaguya.
Obito had Zetsu in him. That's kind of why he did partially from side.
I'm talking about when Obito like absorbed the Nine-Tails and became Jubito.
Oh, you talking about after they took it out of him and he drained him or whatever, and he
no, because that's when his skin goes back to normal. He retains his white hair because I think that's more so physical stress. But I think just like Madara, it also turned white because he became Otsutsuki. But more importantly, his skin turned greenish white, like an Otsutsuki.
Oh yeah.
Also scaly, which is kind of weird.
I'll show my screen. I think I'm wrong. Hold on.
Alright. Plus, I do think that all Nine-Tails originally came from Shibai in the first place, but that's just headcanon at that point.
Shibai, yeah.
We'll find out in time.
No telling. They even go into that for the game.
Free game, you sharing your screen?
Hold on.
Alright.
What? Oh, hold up.
Alright. Well, chat, how you doing tonight? Any super chats for you?
All right.
That would be important to check though. Alright, no chats on our end. So at least there's that. Oh, that's on. Open back up to here. Alright. Well. Guess I'll read free games chat out.
Wrong one. Hold on.
Alright, Cloud Ninja Podcast chat. How y'all doing tonight?
All right.
Okay. What is this?
Nah, hold on.
Okay. Forgive me, you know you're showing some person on your stream, right?
Yeah, that's my dog.
Okay. Just making sure you know.
I know.
Okay.
I thought it was
Okay.
Gotcha.
MRL, what's good? What's good with you? I think this is, I don't know what this is. What emoji is this? Potato bread for chicken today, gang? Freaking, what you eat for supper? What you eat tonight? Invincible, what about you?
I ain't none.
You ain't eaten nothing yet? Dang.
Mm-mm.
What did I eat? I ate taquitos and broccoli. It was pretty good. Yo, says Pirate King. Pirate King Luffy says, yo, what's up? Well, glad I could interact with chat. Alright, well.
Man, I'm still trying to find this. What the fuck?
Were you trying to find ChatGPT something? Or?
Oh yeah, I found it. Hold on.
Well, something else I'll note is that the Otsutsuki, or at least the Ten-Tails, records everything, records all life on the planet, etc., etc. Momoshiki was able to record other people's attacks. He essentially saved them inside his own body. There you go. Plus the fact that Momoshiki devoured Kinshiki and evolved just like a chakra fruit. In fact, he literally turned him into a chakra fruit. He just skipped the tree process altogether somehow. Don't even know why they need the tree, just use the karma. In fact, I can't believe Kinshiki just didn't have a karma somewhere. But maybe that's a different Shinjutsu for a higher level, I don't know.
What the fuck?
I guess that doesn't make sense, you need it immediately. I don't know how the Otsutsuki do what they do. But anyway. Invincible, how you doing tonight?
Oh, okay. I'm stupid. Stupid.
Stupid. Well, why are you stupid?
Shut up.
Just clear
I got
the
it
dead
on
air.
there. Can you see my screen?
No.
I was wrong.
I could just watch it on the Discord. Or the YouTube. You wanted to show it on YouTube?
Discord. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see it on on YouTube at least. Yes.
Yeah, so read that.
Yes, the Ten-Tails in the Naruto universe is a manifestation of the God Tree, which was cultivated by Ishiki Otsutsuki and Kaguya Otsutsuki, and Kaguya merged with it after eating its chakra fruit. More detailed explanation, God Tree. The Ten-Tails is essentially the tailed beast incarnation of the God Tree, a massive plant-like entity cultivated by the Otsutsuki clan.
Kage's role, Kage Otsuki, a member of the Otsuki clan, played a crucial role in the Ten-Tails' existence. That's crazy.
Mhm.
There you go. Editing and marketing resume is in the way of reading the chakra fruit part of the nice words there, but moving on to the Rene Sharingan, this merging resulted in the creation of the Ten-Tails, which possessed the Rene Sharingan, a powerful dojutsu eye ability. Don't know what it means by this merging, since it resulted in the creation of the Ten-Tails.
It's a hard explanation, but it seems like it's a part of them. That's what it seems like.
Definitely merged with the God Tree at the very least.
Yeah.
I want to take a screenshot of that. That's kind of funny. Okay.
Yeah, guys, I gotta get to sleep. It's 12 o'clock. I will catch y'all later.
All right. Thanks for popping in. And us on yours.
Peace out. Y'all free to stay in here if y'all want.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, Invincible, you want to hang around for a little bit?
Thank you for joining our late night podcast. Wasn't expecting to do this, but thank you for joining, and peep this in the morning. If you haven't, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All right. Well, now that we're, I guess, done with that.
Thank you for joining for another podcast. If you're joining later, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and show your boy some love. We'll be podcasting probably tomorrow, I want to say. So, peace out.
All right. So, Conway, did we want to keep going with some of our own topics, or?
Either way works for me. If I'm just out of curiosity, can you kind of refresh me on the last maybe 10-ish minutes, whatever I left? Because I'll just be honest. You said something that I kind of say in this video script that I recorded, but I was like, you said something, I was like, no, I need to add that to this part just to really hammer it home. So I decided I was like, I'm doing this now before it's too late. So I just re-recorded like the part. I was trying to get it right so that I could easily put it into my thing, because I've already recorded this and everything. So I was like adding this in after.
Mid-podcast, you said nothing, deafened yourself, and muted yourself to go record your video script because something I said was that good. I thought you were having like a family emergency or something. I got no idea.
No.
Oh my god.
No, yes, it's because of something you said. And you're gonna laugh because it's not important.
Okay, now I'm dying to know. Am I gonna be able to tell when I watch the video? You just don't tell me?
Well, hopefully not, because it's gonna be so small enough, so I'll just tell you. I don't think you're gonna notice, because, I mean, maybe
it would be hilarious to react to the video just to guess this, but that would also take a long time. Your whole stream.
It's a 34-minute video. So to guess one sentence that was not added, but part of the sentence was expanded. So
it would be hilarious to do that, though.
So like, there's just a very small addition to a point contained into a sentence.
Okay.
I don't know if you could guess it, because I don't think you would remember what specific thing you said on the podcast.
Okay. Well,
so
what is it?
I guess Do you want? I was like, do you want to
At
guess,
this
or do you want me
point-
to tell you?
At this point, I just want you to tell me, since I don't remember what it was. I'm assuming it was before we started talking about the Ten Tails being Otsutsuki.
Yeah, it was
'Cause
about
that's-
before
yeah,
that.
that's
So
what we've been doing
I was going
for
to
the
ask you
past
what
10
you talked
minutes.
about. So, in my Shinju video, I just had a small part dedicated to Jura crying.
Mhm.
I just wanted to address it. I was like, I'll throw it in here,
Okay.
where I thought would be the best part to just throw it in. And I completely agree with you. I stopped listening halfway through your explanation, but I already know I agree with you.
Yeah.
But the point was, no, I don't think Jura is linked emotionified to Matsuri. It's his own reaction to this. But again, I made the point. I'm the one who brought up chapter 5. He says he can't feel Matsuri's emotions.
Yeah.
I brought up that he doesn't feel other Shinju's pain or coughing up blood or whatever. But I was like, God damn it, you said the most obvious thing ever that I couldn't believe it wasn't the first thing I listed. So I made sure to go back and fix it. Matsuri's screaming in rage in this exact scene. He's having all this conversation. He's not angry. Why didn't I think of that?
Exactly. Well, I think
So I
technically
had to go add that in.
the chapter 5 thing is more blatant and direct and to the point, but I do think this being more timely relevant to literally now makes it
Yeah, so
more impactful in a way.
I said to start, Jura himself literally stated that, he doesn't feel this in chapter 5. Moreover, I originally said Jura has never once shared other feelings and bodily functions with other Shinju previously, including every time they felt pain from battle or even when Ryu was seemingly coughing up blood. All I changed was including where's the Ryu version? Now it's including Matsuri's intense rage in this very scene every time the Shinju have felt pain from battle or blah blah blah. Like, it's literally the smallest addition. But I was like, it's so obvious. I was like, why wasn't that there?
At the very least, when Matsuri is crying, she's very clearly erratic. I'm not going to say as angry anymore, but very emotional. Whereas Jura, he's crying, but he's completely calm and logical. And
Yeah.
all that, yeah. So it's not like he's shaking over there. It's a very cool detail that he cried, though.
Either way, I'm glad you said it, because I'm like, this is just so obvious. It just should have been in the script. I don't know how I missed. I don't know how I'm noticing Jura's contradictory statement in chapter 5 and not thinking about that, the obvious thing in front of us.
I mean, I was glad when I thought about it. I was glad when I wrote it down. You know what?
But
okay.
What did you talk about after Jura crying?
It's been a lot of nothing and me trying to fill dead air as Free Game was trying to find something to put on screen. About the Ten Tails being Otsutsuki or not. The conclusion is that it likely is. But
Basically.
it wasn't anything too crazy. What I will say here, I'm just going to share my screen. I
have the 3-year-old theory on this whole thing before anything happens, so I'm already in agreement. Yes, it is Otsutsuki.
Okay, so Conway, this was the most interesting thing that I found that Free Game pulled up. You want to read this?
Okay. Their smurging resulted in the creation of the Ten Tails, which possessed the Rene Sharingan, a powerful dojutsu.
What is it talking about? This is the Google AI thing. It's like, what merging?
What did you search?
I guess the merging.
It's the merging of Kaguya and the Divine Tree.
You get a Rene Sharingan with it.
Resulted in the creation of the Ten Tails?
No. It's saying when Kaguya merged with the Divine Tree,
yes,
it became the Ten Tails.
Which possessed the Rene Sharingan. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the Rene Sharingan, caption or whatever at the top really was throwing me off there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was talking about...
I
thought it was talking about creation of the Ten Tails as, in existence, as a concept, rather than that one just transforming into the Ten Tails.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Why the title thing with the colon is Rene Sharingan, and they're even mentioning that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is weird. Because this isn't explaining what the Rene Sharingan is at all. It's explaining the creation of the Ten Tails and saying, oh yeah, by the way, it has a Rene Sharingan.
Even then, I still don't even knowing what it's referencing, I hate the phrase creation of the Ten Tails there. No, it's not. All things are cards.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
Sounds wrong. But I'll get rid of that. Okay, so might as well go over some of these other things. And we'll just... I can't scroll this way. Okay, we'll scroll this way. I was kind of... Okay. I just saw this in a recommendation on Google. I was kind of just wondering what this looks like. Firing the Lorentz plasma cannon. So as you know, my thing that I was anticipating that was going to be the next cool thing after Aria's sword wasn't Sarada's Mangekyo. It was the Lorentz gun. The Team 7 technique finally being canonized since it was in the novels. It was this OP teamwork jutsu that was barely even a thing, but...
And I told you...
barely possible.
You're gonna like the Mitsuki rewrite.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to see what this is. Again, it's a 12-minute video. We're not gonna watch the full thing. I don't even know if this.
Well, to be fair,
is.
I don't know.
Looks like it's
obviously, the jutsu is gonna be inspired by this. I don't know necessarily that this is gonna be what the jutsu is. I know what the jutsu is, but I don't know if this will be exactly the same. So but we'll find out.
Here, I'll just I'm gonna stop sharing so I can, or I'll just change it so you can just hear it. Okay. I don't know what this is, if this is like an informational, educational video explaining what is happening or what. Let's at least listen to it for a little bit. Maybe not if it's music.
Start by turning that down.
I don't know if that's copyrighted. So, design a live testing with whatever that is. It's a website and person, I guess.
Have you ever wanted to throw a lightning bolt at something? Well, as it turns out, it's technically quite possible to do. Today we're going to fire this directed energy device that I built a while back. I call it the Lorentz cannon. The cannon is supported by a 240,000 volt pulse forming tower called a Marksbank, which delivers an
Okay, so first of all, two things. Who is this guy? Is this guy working for a company or is he just doing this on his own? Is it just some retired dude that is smart? He just knows how to build a lightning cannon. He's got a Patreon.
Well, he said I called it. Is he the inventor of the Lorentz cannon?
Exactly. That was my second thing. It's not the Lorentz cannon. That's just what he calls it. What? You can request things, apparently. What can we request? I might just unironically do this. Can we request him to use his Lorentz gun on Iron Sand? Just see what happens?
We get him on the podcast.
You can scientifically explain it. I love it. Oh my god. Well,
he can demonstrate it live. He's just like standing out here just on our live stream doing it.
Tom, I kid you not. I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to send this guy an email after this. I don't care how much it costs. We're doing it. Okay, anyways.
Electrical power pulse of several gigawatts to the 30-barrel armature gun mounted on top. The gun then initiates a plasma channel through the air at current levels found in natural lightning and can direct this plasma channel towards any grounded target.
Would be
now
cool
you
if that
might
was
be
real.
wondering, why would anyone build such a thing? Well, back in the day when I lived at Survival Research...